Okay, Dweebs, I think you should have got a better engine for your fucking slate since we crash landed
Uh,
here.
uh,
And
uh, okay, Tio. First of all, my sleigh is not powered by engines; it's powered by
wait,
reindeer.
hold on, please. Why are you blue? Why am I blue? Why is everything blue? Oh my god, this is
Um,
terrible.
don't you see? It's because
I'm
the
okay with
lights.
this.
The lighting of the set. Okay, first off, the lighting all around us is blue, and second, TA, he could have told me that that runway was infested with gangs shooting at every plane that lands there.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm blue. Da da dee da dee da.
Of course. Well, whatever. Since we're in Gotham City, we need to repair the slave for the time being. Let's talk about something appropriate to it. Batman Returns, the official sequel to the first Batman live-action movie that was in the Adam West show.
That's
of
right,
course.
folks.
Well,
Not too.
technically, there was a
Yeah,
there
no,
was a
there
movie
was
in the
like I
1940s.
forgot the Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right,
Anyway,
folks. Not too long ago, you may
Oh.
recall that the four of us did a commentary on Batman 1989. We all pretty much enjoyed it as a Batman movie that helped get stuff back in the curb thing and would eventually help serve as the basis for the upcoming Batman the Animated Series. The sequel also being a component upon which stuff would be based as well.
Yeah, and speaking of, back then the first movie was indeed less successful and also praised by critics. So of course a sequel went into production and was ultimately released in 1992. Curiously enough, it had a premiere at the Men's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. Okay, but anyway, so all things considered, Bruce Wayne has got his revenge, the Joker is dead, Gotham is ridden by the crime, so everything should be hunky-dory, right? Wrong.
Oh,
As
boy.
in, this goes the Spider-Man 3 route by having not one, not two, but technically speaking, three villains. Mind you, one is not super effective against Batman, but you'll see in due time. Anyway, once again, Tim Burton is at the helm with writers a screenplay by Daniel Walters and a story with some help by Sam Hamm. Anyway, not being too much around the bushes, so let's start in the meantime before the Warner Bros. Logo in 3, 2, 1, click. So, Pedro, in the meantime, what did you actually thought about the first Batman movie?
For me, with Batman '89, is that as a superhero movie in general, it's very good. I really like it. It has fantastic score, really good visuals, all that good stuff. And in general, this is an overall really enjoyable movie. As a Batman movie, on the other hand, I have some issues with it. Like for example, one of my biggest inconveniences is, of course, the way the violence that Batman sometimes input. And yeah, I know
Oh,
that
hey,
some
Pee
people
Wee
might say,
Herman.
Yeah, is this Paul Rubens?
Yep,
Yeah,
that
Paul
is
Rubens.
Paul Rubens playing
all
Mr.
to see.
Cobblepot.
Okay, this requires a bit of explanation because I think this was still running on the simple continuity that the Cobblepots were just a simple, the family of rich people in Gotham. Later continuities will try to pretend that some of their ancestors were, tied to the Waynes as the founders of Gotham, but it's a bit complicated. So
Basically,
for
the
now, just the
The
go.
Cobblepots were blessed with a new firstborn child.
A
Papa
true
said
Christmas miracle.
one so
or
sophisticated
a
that they
nightmare.
kept in a cage.
Look at the kitty Shirai. So adorable, isn't it?
How lovely.
See, even the
Poor little
child
kids.
loves it. Oh, maybe a bit too much. Damn. So, Merry Christmas!
Yes, Merry Christmas indeed.
everyone.
So yeah, the best course of solution for the Cobblepots is to just take a quiet stroll in the park on Christmas. A bit, rushed, but there's
Where-
nothing wrong with that.
Where nobody
on.
can hear you scream. Oh, Merry Christmas, newlyborns.
Oh, boy, Joe, Merry Christmas and all.
But yeah, my issue with the original film is, of course, Batman's method. One of my big issues, if not the main one. Again, I understand that some people would say, "Oh, come on, Pedro." Even outside of the Golden Age, there were the occasional times in the comics where Batman did kill. Well, guess what? I didn't
Bye
like
bye,
it there
baby.
either.
And let's just say that it doesn't get too better here. But for the time being, yes, the Cobblepots were so generous that they dumped their baby in a frozen river. Just
What lovely. Honestly, are these parents? Actually, no. Thomas Wayne and Joker was an arsehole, but he still loved his son, so. Never mind.
Yeah.
One interesting thing about the development of this movie, Tim Burton actually was asked to make this movie right away after the big success, but he actually wasn't interested and refused at first. It was only later when Warner Bros. Basically gave him a blank check when Tim Burton and Tim Burton wanted complete creative freedom, The thing is that when Tim Burton gets given complete creative freedom, some issues tend to arise. But I'll bring it up as well.
He tends to get overexcited, as you will see.
Basically, yeah. I consider
Batman
this
Returns.
pretty much. I mean, well, who else did you think was going to return? Superman?
The Joker. But no.
Really? I thought it was based on characters from Marvel Comics.
Or how about the Image Comics? Anyway, unfortunately, this movie, surprisingly enough, already starts dividing the fandom. You think the Joel Schumacher movies will start, but no, actually, this one. Some people think it's too dark. Others think it's a bit unnecessary with the theme. Sometimes others say that it changed it too much from the source material. It's a bit all over the place.
I treat this movie the same way that I treat Death Stranding. I'm glad that it exists, but man, is it a sign that creators definitely do need restraint at times.
I guess I should be. I should be counting more like the
Dan
first
Winston
movie.
did the effects. Cool.
Yeah, I'm counting more like the first movie, because even the first movie, like I said, did a lot of changes that back then for the source material that was back then, and of course then you have the score. But to me, it's actually my favorite of the bunch, mostly due to the atmosphere. It tackles Christmas period in a way that not many movies actually do. Mind you, I do agree that it dwells a bit too much into the grotesque in a lot of things unnecessary when you get down to it. And it suffered the same problem as Spider-Man 3 has, of lack of focus, with way too many villains to focus on. But overall, well, I guess I'll say more from my final thoughts, but overall, I kind of tend to appreciate it.
Yeah, my
That
main
said-
issue with this movie is, like Theo said, it's all over the place in a lot of ways. Like the plot, not to mention a lot of the tonal inconsistency that's going to happen in a few points, and I'll point out when we get to it. It's just again, which is weird because tone-wise, the first movie was just fine.
Absolutely. I mean, the first movie knew when to be lighthearted, but also when to be dark. Like, let's not forget that the first movie was supposed to be a movie for both kids and adults. Lord knows the things they were willing to let things go.
And there you go. The cradle of all coincidence survives and gets acquainted by penguins.
That's the thing. Apparently,
that's the thing,
that-
Joe. But here in Britain, at least Batman and Batman Forever. I know Batman Forever was. I'm not sure about the first one. They're rated 15 round here.
Anyway,
Joe.
Batman Returns. Sorry, it Returns, not Forever.
Anyway, Tio, to answer your question, the sewer line leads to the Gotham City Zoo at the Penguin exhibit.
So does that mean that Moses was in that cradle?
It's a twisted parallel, honestly, yeah. But anyway, after what happened after the death of the Joker, Gotham has gone a bit of restructuring, including its political figures and even the imprenditorial stuff, including a rising figure of a character called Max Schreck.
Also, those Gotham statues, I look forward to them being a boss in the Sega Genesis game. For some
Wait,
reason.
seriously?
Yeah, believe it or not, Tio, those two statues that you see there, they're a boss fight in the Sega Genesis game.
Well, okay, 16-bit video game, I guess that was to be expected.
So, yeah, recently there have been reportings of the sighting of a person who is half man, half penguin.
Hi, Alfred.
Oh, I love what he has to
Gotta
say about
expose it
this.
conveniently for the audience.
Well, to be fair, I've heard of worse ways.
Oh, Alfred.
If you
If only
only
knew
knew.
what is to come in this city.
I thought Penguin was just going to nab him or something.
You know, you gotta imagine, if Penguin's been down in the sewers this whole time, what he must have thought seeing the whole chaos going on when Jack Napier had
I
us
know,
run
right?
a town.
Whoa!
So anyway,
Oh, a
now
cat. Nice.
Phoenix
so-
Cat, is that
we
you?
get now we get another one of the films.
Yep, this is definitely
Quirky
a Tim Burton
villains.
film.
Max Shrek, played by former Bond villain Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken as a Batman villain. How
It's
cool is
beautiful.
that?
He was a Bond villain. There's not that much.
That's
more
the thing
insane.
with Christopher. If you're one of the two people who don't know, Christopher Walken is weird.
He is literally.
Not just his acting,
Please
his entire shtick and all. I just don't get how these human beings exist. But yeah, Christopher Walken is the millionaire kind of villain, the one that, like the classic one you can imagine. He takes over things, take advantage of others, just for the sake of money and profit.
But Tio, he just wants
Yeah.
to give Gotham a proper working generator.
He's such a
here.
philanthropist. You may not also notice his secretary, played by Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, hey, I look forward to you being a big thing
Although-
in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Although, funnily enough, she wasn't actually supposed to be played by Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, but that's a story for later in this.
Lady, you need to adjust your hairdo.
Remember,
Yeah,
too, this was still
don't
back in
worry,
the
Joe.
early...
It'll be Don't worry, Joe. It'll be quick. She was supposed to be played by Annette Bening, but she became pregnant, so Pfeiffer got the role instead.
Also, Taylor, remember, this was still back in the early 90s, where the 80s were still trying their hardest not to die, even though everybody told them, just die already, you're over.
So yeah, Shrek also has a son.
Who he actually does legit love.
I know, so it's surprising considering his character and all. But yeah, you also have heard the name. This secretary is Selina Kyle. If you know
Yes.
anything about the comic, you know exactly, well, sort of where this is going, because this movie kind of reinvented the origin story of this character.
But I
And-
thought her name was Patience Phillips.
No.
Well, actually, Dibs, let's not forget Selena Kyle does cameo in that movie.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought that was Christopher Nolan walking through the crowd.
No,
This
at this
wiki
point was like
someday we'll
15
have him.
or something. Like,
Well,
no,
well,
no,
maybe-
like
maybe
20,
he-
maybe.
Well, who knows? Maybe he always looked like that.
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Why are Gotham sewers filled with penguins?
Oh,
No,
again,
like
like,
Java said, it's connected to the Gotham Zoo. It's
Yeah.
just a bad architecture in that kind of way.
How does that even
You may have
work?
also noticed something, or more like the lack thereof. Where is Bruce Wayne or Batman?
Maybe he's stopping criminals?
If you again, you need to remember one thing: the previous movie, how it ended. Jova even pointed it out. It's super triumphant with the music. Batman got his revenge, got the girl, and everything. So keep that in mind for when you see Bruce the first time.
How much time has been since the first movie again?
Not much. If I recall, only like a couple of months. I think. Yes. Selena.
And Michelle Pfeiffer
Uh-oh.
will also become Tim Burton regular after this movie.
Whoop. Yeah, apparently
he
Max
forgot
forgot
his
his.
keys.
Come on, Christopher. He forgot the lines of the script, so you had to improvise.
Well, it's Christopher Walken. How much you want to bet that was actually Christopher Walken who genuinely forgot his lines, and Tim Burton decided to just roll with it.
Or I don't know, maybe he's trying to remember his lines, but he quoted his lines from View to a Kill instead.
as is typical of a Tim Burton movie, I cannot stress enough how great the casting for this movie is.
It is. If there's one thing Tim Burton is always good at, even in his worst movies, is the casting and the visuals.
Like how Planet of the Apes 2001 was pretty brilliant with its casting, I dare say.
And his makeup.
Although I still think that actress who plays Alice in his Alice movie is a bit boring, to be honest.
Oh, look at
Oh.
that, Giant Gibbs.
Here, have a big present, Gotham.
And Annie Elfman's music is still great.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Just roll with it.
Hey!
Not mine.
Oh.
Yes, just run with the insane killer clown posse.
The Joker's back!
Alright.
No!
Yeah, basically these are are gonna be the goons for the entire movie, pretty much.
What-
Forgot what specific name.
The Red Triangle Circus Gang.
Thank you.
That
Anyway,
said, though,
Michelle Pfeiffer-
It was.
Interesting. Sorry.
I will say it was kind of a missed opportunity that these weren't the Joker's henchmen, but they do manage to fit them in with our villain of this one.
Also, I think I'm probably one of those. I'm not sure how many people. I'm one of those people that actually knows Michelle Pfeiffer more for being in Scarface than Batman, the '80s one.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Gordon.
Okay, light up a
Oh,
signal.
where is Bruce? Oh,
Oh,
no,
he's
there's
hold
just
on.
sitting alone in the dark.
Michael were filming.
He's Bruce Wayne.
I think, honestly, it isn't kind of theorized. I think there's a bit more to that. It's more like the fact that
He was waiting for
it
the
was
bat
just
signal.
waiting for that. No, but again, it feels as if Bruce realized that revenge was pointless in killing the Joker and all. And there's also a scene that was deleted where Alfred pretty much tells that Vicky Vale was being dumped by Bruce himself. So basically, his happy ending got sort of retconned here.
That's something that I don't particularly care for, to be honest.
Well, hey, at least Shrek's son loves his pa. He was
Yeah,
willing to sacrifice his life for him.
As Dubs already knows, I'm not keen on retcons.
Unless, well, from what I understand, you're.
Well, I guess in this case it's more of a hijacking. It's a bit weird. It's similar, I guess, how the X-Men movie, the Logan hijacks the good ending shot at the end of Days of Future Past.
Okay, here's the thing. It's not really a retcon because it doesn't really change anything that was preconceived or anything. It's
True, the fact still happened.
Yeah,
it's just.
It's just that, like, well, it's like
that is true. That's not the correct term. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, here's the thing. Things met their proper conclusion, though. It's like, well, yes, it was nice that Batman got his revenge, although I still hold he
Batman really had a tool just for that.
Hey, he's got to be
course.
crazy prepared for this stuff, Tio. You know the deal.
Yeah, one thing that I will also say is that, again, the visuals on their own merits are really great. However, I think, again, much like I've said about, again, the lack of restraint on part of Burton for this movie, it shows a bit in the art direction, where I think the skulls that the folks are wearing are a bit too big
Trying
and
a bit
wacky.
too hard.
Not so much that, Tim. It's more so the fact that, like, they look a bit too wacky. Like, they're big, moving eyes and stuff like that.
Batman, what are you doing?
They look like...
He just had a U-turn.
They look like mascots from Chuck E.
Batman, you
Cheese.
just murdered someone. What the fuck?
I'm not gonna get into this again. Moving on.
The problem is that we're not stopping. That's a problem.
I know that's my problem with the Burton films. Like,
Yeah, at least for most of the Mook fight, let's just say that the Mook in this movie are very expensive.
Okay,
Sorry, not expensive, expendable in that kind of sense. Batman just goes to town on them.
it's like, at the very least in the first Batman film, you could argue that Batman technically didn't
I
kill
don't
any...
know. Sorry, go on.
You could say that Batman technically didn't kill anyone. It's like I said, he didn't kill the Joker. The Joker killed himself by not, untying that thing fastened around his leg here and there. Here, though, yeah, we don't get that much an
Jesus.
excuse. Also,
Not just
that's...
that, yeah.
Also, that taser's gonna be a Chekhov's gun, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think it's the start of a great friendship.
Yep, Batman saves Selina Kyle.
But no, I actually legitimately do wonder whose idea was with implementing the idea. If it was I guess Tim Burton, because the whole direct control and all. But weird.
she's a loser. See, like all the men in her life.
But
You can tell because she's wearing glasses.
At least back in the movies
There it
in
is.
this time, most of the time it was always the nerdy man who was always the loser. I guess, to be fair, at least it's refreshing that nerdy women get to be.
Well, this was like what, 5 years before Stargate, so
I guess, sure.
Selina, come on.
Selina, what are you doing?
Hey, Gordon, you continue to be a bit pointless in this scene. Seriously, the one thing that I noticed, unfortunately, is that in these 4 movies, Commissioner Gordon is so superficial for the grand scheme of things.
Again, that's my major thing when it comes to these Batman movies too. They're like when it comes to being a Batman films, they miss a lot of
I mean,
Uh,
again, I can
uh,
argue
honestly,
this was before
although
the
honestly-
animated series, and also for non-comic book fans, this was their first introduction back then.
Although honestly, Tira, in terms of Commissioner Gordon being superficial, it's not as bad here as it was in Justice League.
Well, that's because it's not even supposed to be a Batman
Wait,
movie.
was he even in that movie?
Yeah, he was
Yes,
played by
he was.
J.K. Simmons.
Oh yeah, oh my god!
I don't blame
totally
you for
forgot.
forgetting.
I swear, I forgot.
So
Okay,
anyway,
this is the weirdest zoo ever.
well,
Jurassic
Tio, it's
World.
architecture in Gotham City.
So yeah, Shrek in the confusion has been kidnapped, but by whom?
Tim Burton? No.
I mean, it could very easily be Tim Burton.
Oh,
Rude.
Just some penguins.
there he is, the man himself. Okay,
Danny DeVito playing the Penguin.
okay, this is without a doubt just stellar casting here. Danny DeVito
The
playing a
problem
human.
It sounds like
technically
he's doing an
speaking, the character
impression of,
itself.
It sounds like
yes,
he's doing
but-
an impression of Burgess Meredith's Penguin from the 60s show.
Yeah, a
He
bit. The
does,
problem
yeah.
is mostly the appearance. In case you don't know, the Penguin is always been like usually a character that is like a rich counterpart to Bruce Wayne, but he also deals in gangster stuff. And his shtick is that he has a lot of gadgets hidden in his different umbrellas. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, he's just a mafia boss. Here, Burton wanted to be a bit further and making a mutant with freakish hands.
I'll admit, I don't mind this. I mean, and let's not forget, this would be what would actually
The
inspire
basis for the
pretty
animated
much
series, yeah.
not just that, but a lot of other versions of the Penguin too.
When did the animated series start?
I think a bit after this one.
1992, I believe.
so
So,
the
This film
same
also
year,
came out
this.
in 1992.
I think it's 93 actually.
or maybe
Let me-
93.
I'll ask Siri. Hey Siri. That doesn't work when I'm on thingy. And I'll have to do it. the
I'll just
old-fashioned
circle
way.
myself, Lives, don't worry.
But yeah, anyway, Danny DeVito here plays a penguin who will, yes, have access to the fortune, but is one who is, well, not exactly welcomed by society. Also, I love his umbrellas in this movie.
Oh, a few months after this film came out, in September of 1992.
Oh, there you
So
go.
basically, both were in development at the same time. This movie and the series.
I think that line was genuine from Chris. Like, what are you doing?
Yep, no,
Oh,
it's not.
snap.
It doesn't work.
True. Yeah, let's just say that for this movie, the Penguin has a very complex plan, surprisingly.
But one that does make sense.
It does require
Yeah.
steps, though, and the first is to get back with society, I just say.
It's
I,
a
I was gonna say, get him all the way down there just to kill him. I mean, damn. I mean, I know he was in a view to a kill, but walking was the best part of that movie. They need to shoot him.
This is actually a nice subversive piece of bit Burton does here. Have the penguin definitely look like a monster, but still retain a lot of the brains and smarts that one would associate with a more handsome-looking fellow. Like, at this time in media, it wasn't that common for the monstrous folk to, be the brainy ones. They're more just the dumb muscle more often than not. As for how they got Danny DeVito onto this
Max,
project,
the bad choice of words.
yeah.
Exactly why am I gonna help you?
Let's open up
Monkey.
the presents.
Yay, it's again a truly Christmas miracle.
After playing past the parcel, I guess.
Tasty.
Oh, is
So
that,
clean.
About
Oh,
that.
is that the toxic? Is that the sludge from Marco's Magic Football?
Max,
About
I
that.
don't think you should be rationalized with the freakishly mutant monster in front of you.
Damn, he is so dedicated. He found
With-
all
yeah,
the shredded documents
and he
and
taped
put
them
them back
together.
together.
I mean,
That's
gotta
the
give him
penguin for
props.
you,
That's
Chris.
commitment.
Mhm. He's
Yeah.
dead.
Fred's dead.
And as usual, every time Christopher Walken has to make some kind of thing where he corrects himself, I'm always wondering if he genuinely forgot his line or if it's actually part of the script.
Actually,
Yeah, Penguin must smell like shit,
I
considering
don't
where he
think
lives.
I don't think his character in A View to a Kill actually died in that film. He lost his memory and
Went to
became-
Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, hell, at least then he'd be away from James Bond.
Yes. Just leaves him there.
I needs to make a decision. Yeah.
Wait,
There
do you
is
have
no
a
honey.
do you even have a
Nope.
husband?
No, she
Nope.
forgot
Yeah,
she's
she's
not
not.
married.
Yeah,
But,
Yes.
but you know what she has?
A cat?
Yes.
Yes, a lot of them. Well, I mean, she's going to be called Catwoman near the end. Well, actually, no, not near the end. A bit later on in the movie. Sorry.
Miss Kitty.
Oh.
A black cat.
Hello.
TMI, Selena. TMI.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I'll just get all my cat-related jokes out of the way now. Her favourite show is Miss Kitty. She likes eating fish all the time, and blah de blah de blah.
Has
That-
she seen the recent Cats movie?
Oh boy. You know, for as much as we joke though, folks, believe it or not, this movie handles the whole Catwoman thing a lot better than the actual Catwoman movie did.
Like that's
not
hard.
again. In that, it was a problem of the weird development cycle in assigning the project to fucking Peter, of all people.
Speaking of weird
but again,
development cycles,
Hello there. But okay.
With Neos. This is the movie that reinvents the origins of Catwoman. Mind you, they weren't like super stellar before, and believe me, when Frank Miller rewrote them in Batman Year One, it wasn't even that better. But here, it's weird. Just say that.
It'd have been funny since around this time, Frank Miller was a Hollywood screenwriter. It was a funny thing got him to write the script for this.
so yeah,
Well,
folks.
it was before he went cuckoo, but go on, Joe. Sorry.
Speaking of interesting developments, there was actually a lot of competition for the role as Catwoman in this movie. Believe it or
Lives-
not.
I already
mentioned
mentioned
one
that.
before,
I already
I think.
mentioned they had an actress cast, but she had to pull out.
But there's one thing you haven't mentioned, Sean Young here. Okay, Sean Young actually wanted to be Catwoman, so much so that she ambushed Tim Burton while wearing a Catwoman
right.
costume. Needless to
forgot about
say,
that.
Tim
Yeah,
Burton
well,
We
himself,
mentioned that in the Catwoman commentary.
Sorry, go on. Go on, Joe.
not
Forgot.
needless to say, even Tim Burton found that weird. Mind you, she managed to freak out Tim flipping Burton.
Well, Joe, but Tim Burton is kind of an introvert, so obviously that's not the correct
Someone
way to
rocks
engage
up in
him.
a Catwoman costume that's going to scare him a little.
No, I guess it wasn't just the right approach to do things.
Yeah, I mean, at least wait for an audition. Damn.
Oh.
How in the dust?
I wouldn't have said it like that, but sure. Go on.
Again, I'm willing to bet that was improvised by him.
How did an agent even found this guy?
No, this is exactly the thing about Christopher Walken in movies. It's out of this game that
No,
I love to play
again,
with
in
Christopher Walken.
general. I wonder how he managed to actually get his career started.
I don't know.
That's the
but
thing
bless
about
him.
Christopher Walken, Tio. Nobody really knows where he came from. He
Maybe,
just
maybe really is an alien. He just popped
Teo,
up.
if we knew, it would ruin the mystery now, wouldn't it?
I mean, this is a guy who can go from playing this to playing the flipping headless horseman.
I mean, Christopher Walken is generally a good actor. It's just his acting style is interesting.
Unconventional.
I put this watch in my ass.
It's a shame he wasn't able. It's a shame he wasn't able to save Peter Pan live.
No. This is detail. This is this game that I love to play with Christopher Walken roles called Guess What Lines Are Improvised and Which Ones Are Part of the Script.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, Selena is in kind of a trouble because she went somewhere she wouldn't have needed to go.
Do you know what Curiosity did to the
I
cat?
thought he was playing Max Shrek, not the joke. So not the Riddler.
Yeah, okay, Selena, I'm afraid you'll have to die. Oh, wait, sorry,
Wait.
that's 2 movies from
It's
now.
2 movies from now.
Okay. I'll admit I love this bit coming up. It's just our secret, right?
Is he coming on here?
Absolutely nothing. I'll just come back stronger.
Oh.
Oops.
Oops.
What's this?
Oh crap.
Personal spacewalk.
Ha! Just kidding.
Ah, I was joking.
What a story, Mark.
Yeah, no, I was serious.
Well,
Okay, I definitely do appreciate moments like this in this movie. These definitely get down how crapsack a world it can be, while also being able to throw in some humor into the mood.
And there you go, Shiroi. This is what the Catwoman movie later on was trying to do. I mean, say Nakai equivalent in that case die. Then you get to see these cats just jumping around her, and I guess it's presented in a weird, twisted way, as if like they're performing a ritual.
Thankfully, it's not CGI
It's not like
here.
in the 2003 movie, but a CGI cat burps into her face. So
Like,
I wasn't aware that cats possess the ability to give dead people superpowers.
No.
I mean,
Oh,
are
wait,
you really
wait,
surprised
wait.
at this point?
Hang on. He was in. Wait, Christopher Walken was in Eddie the Eagle? I didn't know that.
yes, he was.
Shiroi, you're the expert. What the hell is happening here?
Well, okay, here's the thing, Pedro. Cats are very selfish beings. Here's the thing. If an owner dies and isn't able to feed their cat, the cat will sometimes try to eat their own owner. They're that selfish. Whereas a dog
Like,
will be loyal
wow.
to the very end and try and
Um,
protect their master. Even still, a cat will, supposing you're dead, treat you like a
Okay.
meal. So for all we know, those cats wanted to eat her.
she's
and this-
totally fine.
And this somehow heals her.
Okay. Here's the thing. It's a lot more. It's more obscure here whether or not this actually heals her here and there. Like, that's one thing that's
Ooh.
better about this movie than the actual Catwoman movie here. Here, it's up to you to decide whether or not this revived her or if it was just a fall that didn't kill her, seeing as how
Oh,
she
okay.
did have quite a few
Let's just say
things
that,
managing to keep her from
Let's just say that
taking
one
the
thing
direct
for
hit of the
sure.
fall.
Oh, sorry. Let's just say one thing for sure. Her psyche has been a bit altered.
yeah, I was
yeah.
about to say, I can't, considering how much, we occasionally get some very wacky happenings in this movie, I couldn't tell if that lamp genuinely fell over or if she went in a cat and just fucking pushed it off the edge.
That begs the question, though, Jova. Okay, so if the fall didn't kill her, so you're telling me that she fell from there and no broken bones at all? You just get right back
yeah,
up?
okay, that is a bit more assumption, but that's actually a better question, because technically speaking, again, we see that during the fall she falls on top of some banners, so those may have cushioned the fall, but at least, yeah, she should have had at least one major broken bone. Okay,
That I
then.
chalk up to Gotham City wackiness.
Are you okay? Either this
Michelle, we stopped
either-
filming.
is either
I'm angry.
either this is
Roar.
okay. Either this is Selena
No,
Kyle.
not the stuffed animals,
No, they
Okay,
reflect your
either-
childhood.
Yes, Libs. Sorry.
Okay, either this was
Well, at least the
Selena.
kitty survived.
Anyway,
Yes, Libs.
either this was Selena Kyle going mental, or this is what her character in Scarface did after she left Tony.
Really?
Yeah, she got fed up with his antics that she went completely insane and broke everything.
In addition to many other things.
Yeah. Well, after she leaves in Scarface, we never see her again. So
You see, Shiroi, this is what cats do to people.
You mean they
They
wreck
make
their
men go
stuff and pretty
insane.
much treat like they own it?
See, look at that.
That's where
Shiroi.
the
This-
expression crazy cat lady comes from. Didn't you know that? We die, we get brought back to life, then we go on a trashing
Yeah,
spree.
I think, well, it's time for a change of costume for Selena.
I know, you'll
Also-
dress... I know, she'll dress up like a wasp.
No.
Also, going back to what Jova said, the same thing happens with dogs, except dogs will actually wait a good while before they're hungry enough to start eating you. Cats
Yeah.
are just kind of like, Oh
No,
well.
whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lunch.
Like, dogs have better self-control, but cats, they could care less.
Well, I mean, cats are still considered feral creatures, even if you
Yeah.
have a quote domesticated cat. They're not domesticated in the same way dogs are.
True.
Yeah.
Might as well bring up another thing that I have
Go on.
the Burton Batman films. Another thing that I kind of wish that these movies did a bit more is have a bit more focus on Bruce as a character. I mean, like, because look at
Yeah,
this.
it's something because it's
that is
also
one thing about this movie, yeah.
We're 33 minutes in, and has Bruce even had a line yet?
No.
Yeah, he did. While
but
speaking
yeah,
with...
No,
yeah,
I think
He
he had
spoke
as
to
one as
Gordon.
Batman.
Yeah,
So-
when he was talking to Gordon, yeah. But still, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you should develop the villains, but at the same time, Batman is the main character. I think there's one of the issues that I have with these, not just this one, even the '89 one. I think there's a bit too much focus on the villains. There's not a balance between
Hell
the
here.
development with the villains and with Batman himself.
And there we go. This is the Catwoman costume. Okay, it's not as outrageous as the 2003 one. That was just, BDSM gear. This is still conventional. I get it it's supposed to represent, you will see better later, but I get it's supposed to be representing her damaged psyche and all. But again, you'll see.
That said, yeah, that's one of Burton's things. Like, okay, in the 1989 film, it made sense when we focused more on Joker because it felt like there was a nice transition. Like, sure, we focused on Joker first and foremost, but Bruce Wayne was more the mystery that we were unraveling from the get-go here. Whereas here, yeah, there's not really that much to unravel about Bruce Wayne in this movie so much as it is we're focusing on the villains a lot more. Which is not inherently a bad thing, it's just the end result is... Well, you'll see what happens with the villains.
Not just that, it's more so the fact that
Excuse me.
Batman is supposed to be the main character of these movies, and he's one of the least fleshed out characters.
Okay, to its credit, I think 1989 did do a good job fleshing him out, so I can see why they may think we may not need to flesh him out. My problem stems from the more so the fact that he doesn't get that much screen time, which is kind of an issue.
Wow, great guys. You have to rehearse that 100 times.
I do love how he was pretending that the penguin was taking the baby.
I know, right?
Oh no, it's the penguin man, please don't hurt me.
And watch as he ascends from the sewers and into the arms of the rich and elite.
And
See,
the rich
guys,
and
he's
then-
totally the
and then
savior of Gotham.
And then the rich and elite step all over him, and he appears on the talk show and kills the host.
Wait a minute.
No, wait, sorry, wrong movie. It's not Dark Knight Returns. Part 2.
Now, there you go. Bruce is relating to Cobblepot because he represents instead the abandoned child. You know, the fact that, like, Bruce, he was being abandoned by his parents in this continuity.
You're an orphan too? We should totally hang out.
This is actually an
Wait, Bruce Wayne's in this movie?
Yes,
This
supposedly.
is actually an interesting thing that Burton does do with the villains in this one. Make them dark reflections of Batman. Not unlike what they sort of did with Joker in 1989, but this one takes that to a nice thing, and I actually do appreciate the parallels that they make with him and the villains. Again, the problem is the end result with a lot of the villains, but we'll get to that near the end of this film.
Well, Joe, but it's not even just that. Like, I mean, there's a good reason why Joker is the most popular Batman villain, because that's at the most of the time, that's kind of what Joker is the exact opposite of Batman.
Again, this is something that I think Burton does very well, and it's showing how the villains can be dark reflections of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Good stuff. So,
But
yeah.
the Penguin actually had the wish to know what his family was. So they allow him to get into the Gotham Hall of Records.
Kind of would make sense. I want to know who my mom and dad were if they flushed me down the sewer and just left me to be raised by a bunch of emperor penguins. That kind of justifies answers. Hey, Shrek, you should be a politician because you have amazing PR stats.
Yeah.
Listen, Mr. Shrek, are you sure you should make a fifth movie?
I do not
Actually, I
know
thought that
what
was
exactly
supposed to be a
you are
reboot.
talking about.
And there you go. That's one iconic thing about the character of a penguin, a monocle.
Yep.
Some continuities loves to play around this, like in the Arkham games, where it's literally just a bottle jamming into his eye.
Yeah.
I mean, what's so uncool on villains about a monocle?
I don't know. It gives them a nice sophisticated look, and it helps, especially when they use it
one
as
of
a
those things-
gadget.
Well, that's one of those things that aren't really easy to explain. Like, for example, why do villains stroke cats while talking to the protagonist? Like, it's one of those things where it's just a cliche that we don't really know why it exists. It just does.
A mushroom soup, Alfred, for Christmas feast is not that
Thanks,
It's
Amazing.
cold.
Alfred.
Oh, no, I can know. It's
Vichyssoise. Vichyssoise. It's French. Louis.
It's supposed to be cold.
That face.
So yeah, ironically enough, for the Marvel side, the Marvel Noir storyline will have a sort of origin story similar to this for the character of Norman Osborn. Essentially a freak show that was raised in a circus.
Huh.
You know, in the 25 years after this film, when Spider-Man Homecoming came out, Michael Keaton didn't age too badly by the way it got to that point, I must
No, I
say.
didn't.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Keaton by this point was already how old? Probably like in his late 30s.
Let me see. No, I'll check. Don't worry, Tio.
Go on.
Okay, Michael Keaton as of now is 68.
Yeah, so by this point he was like in his early 40s, maybe. I think.
Yeah, around 41-ish.
Yeah, there you go then. Might as well ask this while we're on that
Go on.
subject. Don't get me wrong. I like Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. He's fine. He's fine as both Batman and Bruce Wayne. However, I still am a bit. Hold on.
Hmm.
But how?
Yeah, that's to say that Batman is using, I guess, his world's greatest detective skills to understand what the part of a penguin's plan will be. Again, don't get used to this. This incarnation of Batman in all four movies barely does any detective work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, indeed, he actually has found something. So, let's see.
I guess.
It's taking a while.
Well, it's a morning scene, Dwibs.
And yes, the other also iconic thing is the top hat of the character. So it's another thing where he just, we forgot about the costume. We just reinvented it and incorporated bit by bit.
Oh.
The graves of Tucker Cobblepot and Esther Cobblepot.
Esther Cobblepot. They're all
Well,
dead.
I wonder how they must feel knowing that their son has ascended from the place below and will now inherit their fortune. Clearly what they always wished.
Might as well, since I actually haven't mentioned, the mother of a penguin, the wife of Paul Rubens' character, apparently was played by Diane Salinger, I think.
Where have I heard that name?
Let me check. Oh, she was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Ha! So it's a Pee Wee Herman reunion.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It's not raining. Yeah, might as well close this umbrella.
So the penguin is descended from Pee Wee Herman. That makes sense.
Dolls.
Oh god, penguin fangirls.
Oliver Byrne! Be sure to write that in the headlines. That's very tasteless,
That's
you
very
journalist
douche.
prick.
Yeah, you douche. Not you, Tio.
No, yeah, the journalist.
Oh, there's one for the tabloids.
They treated me like number 2. Haha.
And my cat. Though I'm not
What's
quite
the
sure what
rating?
became of the cat.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. What was the rating of this movie?
15 apparently around esports.
Let's see. I think when it first came out, it was either PG or PG-13. That said, it had some McDonald's toys that got recalled because this movie was considered not suitable for McDonald's toys.
Yeah, seriously, no.
Hey, wasn't there that reporter guy from the last movie?
A
What the hell
penguin.
happened to him?
Yeah, he just disappeared. I don't even know what happened to him. Same to Vicky Vale. She just disappeared as well.
I think they at
Again,
least give an
there was supposed
offhand
to-
mention
there
of what
was
happened
supposed-
to her.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a scene at the very beginning where Alfred briefly mentioned, and there's the costume. Yeah, if there's one thing that I'm not a fan is Catwoman's costume here. Again, I get what it represents. It's just no. And once again, it's trying a bit too hard. Hmm. Pleased to meet you. Please stay away from me.
Oh my god, are you coming on to me? Oh, I guess
No.
not.
Okay, now let's just show off. Okay, then.
Okay, hello, bye.
This woman has had a very weird evening.
Personally, I'm not too much bothered by the Catman outfit.
Catwoman, not Catman. Catman's a different character.
Sorry.
gone.
Catwoman's outfit. It does fit with the rest of the art direction of the movie, so I guess it's fine.
I'm with Pedro. I actually don't mind it
I actually have a
either.
bigger, like I said, I actually have a bigger issue with those skulls at the beginning of the movie, to be honest, more than the cat outfit.
But yeah, now about shock, Bruce Wayne is actually out of the way manner discussing as a businessman with Shrek. I know, shocking, right?
But yeah, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with Michael Keaton in this role. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I've always wondered why people of my generation, in particular, because trust me, remember I grew up back when this movie was first released and shit.
Mhm.
So I still am a bit having trouble understanding why people of my generation, people like Brad Jones and Doug Walker, I still Michael Keaton as the epitome of people who played Batman and stuff. Don't get me wrong, he's fine in the role, but I still don't understand why people put him on this pedestal like, oh, he's the best. Like, I think Ben Affleck was a much better not action Batman personally.
I think when it comes to live action roles, the people that have come after him, okay, you know the thing about Bale, he's a great Bruce Wayne. It's just his
Not a very
Batman
good
he
Batman,
has.
yeah.
It's just his Batman he has the voice. Like that voice just kind of takes a hatchet to things.
Hello.
And like,
Yeah.
okay, and what other live action Batman do we have? Adam
Ben
West.
Affleck.
Well, I was
So,
gonna
Adam
say.
West-
Yeah,
Sure. Go
technically
ahead.
Adam West as well, but again, Adam West was a Batman respected for his time, but not the epitome of it.
A different age, Joe, but
What
that's
about
pretty much
Joker?
all.
What about the other two?
I'm talking about live action ones. When it comes to
Kilmer.
oh
Yeah, Kilmer and
oh
Clooney.
god, right, Val Kilmer and George Clooney. Well, Clooney, we all know the thing. It's just Clooney playing Clooney, unfortunately. When it
Well,
comes to Val,
I enjoy that stick more than Kilmer's.
And Val Kilmer is just boring.
yeah.
Bruce, have you forgot your line too?
As for Ben
Yes.
Affleck, I think it's just that Ben Affleck has never gotten the ability to, be the
Yeah,
best
he didn't
Batman
got
he
his
could
moment
be.
to shine, unfortunately.
I feel that if he did get his moment to shine, he would probably be considered the best of the live-action Batman. Now, when it comes to
Agreed.
best Batman in general, I'd say that role pretty much belongs to Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, since we're talking live-action ones, I guess Michael Keaton is just the one who has
Well,
the least
Jova,
amount of
technically
controversial
speaking,
stuff.
Kevin Conroy is playing a live-action Batman for the
Oh,
Arrowverse
yeah.
crossover.
And I am so
So-
looking forward to that. Like, that thing is chock full of fan service.
Come on, Max. What is it? It looks like you've seen a ghost.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, and I do agree with it. You know what's interesting thing? For
What?
me, it's kind of the opposite with Michael Keaton. I think he's a very good Batman, but I don't particularly buy him that much as Bruce Wayne. Like I don't know. Like maybe it's
Considering
just-
what Reeves mentioned in the previous movie that he was known for comedies until this point, I can't believe that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not my issue with it too. My issue is just like the overall. How should I put this? His visual, like I don't know. There's just something about the way.
Yeah,
he
I think I
acts,
get
like,
it.
I think the reason for that is like I
Bruce
feel like
supposed to be a suave kind of guy, you know, kind of like not so much to the point of to the extent of how Bond is, but like yes, and Michael doesn't really pull that off to me.
I've always felt like, well, though, for this incarnation of Batman, that's always been the idea that, as Batman, he's nice, cool, and suave, but he always has had trouble being Bruce Wayne, which has been sort of a transition that these movies have shown. For as much as Batman Forever and Batman and Robin may not be as good as the first few ones, they do show a transition, showing how Bruce becomes more comfortable with being in the public light, with other ones, to the point where in Batman and Robin, he's the most comfortable being in the public as he is.
Oh,
That
sorry,
actually brings
gotta
up a
love
good,
I made out that scene beforehand. Chris Walken literally turned to the camera to say what he needed to say and then move away.
He just said, if she tries to step out of line, I'll just roll out a bigger window.
But anyway, yes, Pedro?
That's another
Ooh,
interesting.
Cobblepot Manor has seen better days, I see.
So, oh hi, Penguin. But yeah, that actually brings up another interesting point. Since Tim mentioned the comedy stuff, that's the thing. And for those who don't know, back when okay, might as well.
Oh. What is this?
A bribe.
Oh.
Come on. Will you do it for
Come
a
on,
penguin
catch the fishy,
snack?
catch the fish, catch the fishy.
Is this just how they rouse Danny DeVito every day?
Poor bastard.
I love how I love how he looks like he's in his pajamas. Happy birthday, penguin! For he's a jolly old penguin. For he's a jolly good penguin.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
Oh.
Actually, I do wonder, Jova, maybe you, Shiri, too, maybe you know about this since you're more into audiobooks and all. Has Christopher Walken ever done an audiobook? I
None
would love
that
to
I
listen
am
to that.
aware of.
Same as Jova.
Nah, semantics, move on. Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. I
But
prefer
he's-
black.
Don't think he's.
They're called gloves.
Just call them gloves, honey. You're not a 5-year-old.
Oh, you are just asking for it.
What a story, Mark.
Okay.
It's a good thing that it's not happening right now. Yeah, like this.
Okay, this may be a bit of a tough electoral campaign to pull
I mean, you
off.
did ask for it.
He had to do the. Walking, what are you doing? He was doing the Nixon sign.
Okay, now this is
Impeachment,
a.
that's a nice word.
Okay, this is one of the weirder parts of the movie. He's only just come into public consciousness, and now all of a sudden he's running for mayor.
That's the
And-
thing. Shrek
And
wants him to be
Shrek is making sure everyone will buy it.
Gotham
basically.
is
Basically,
Go ahead.
Shrek here wants to make Penguin mayor so that he will approve of his power plan here. One of the running forces in this plot here.
Even though Bruce Wayne has suspected that something is not right with the power plan.
Oh, that's funny. Stop
I have a
global
question.
warming, start global cooling,
sorry.
and make the world a giant icebox. Oh, Tio, it's
The
almost
good
like
thing
they're-
that nothing like that is gonna happen.
I can't imagine a supervillain wanting to do that now.
But in order to become the mayor, they have to get rid of the current mayor, and you can't exactly kill him because that will raise suspicion.
Here's an idea. Why not just wait until the proper elections?
No, they're going to try and get him recalled by
I-
digging up some dirt on him.
Oh, no. I get that. What I mean is like, well, Shrek's plan could have worked a lot better if he just waited the proper time. It's like Penguin had said,
You know, if,
patience helps out a lot.
If Gotham was set in the UK, recalling a mayor or an MP would be a lot harder to do.
Well, I can imagine. You were asking, Pedro?
Gotham has become such an emblem of evil that to the point where people are actually resorting to electing a fucking penguin for mayor. That's sad.
It's again, I guess you can imagine something that would happen because after the death of the Joker, there is a sort of a power vacuum because you remember he pretty much got rid of the rest of the major gangster families.
Tang.
Well,
I love how nonchalant he was. All right, I'll be the mayor.
But yeah, it kind of gives you the feeling that the criminality in Gotham at the start of the series, Poodle, is a bit more organized, but
Oh, a
ever
Poodle with
since
a
it becomes
grenade.
more deranged.
That poodle is.
that poodle has a grenade. Just
Whoa.
Oh wait, that Poodle had a grenade.
Yep.
Good doggy.
Hang on. The penguin guy comes out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden people dressed weirdly are attacking the city.
Also by canon.
to be fair, ma'am, these people were attacking the city before the Penguin Mayor guy.
Oh,
came.
there's
Yeah,
Batman. And but
Sorry,
yeah, this is the other major Mook fight where Batman is gonna go on a killing spree, unfortunately. Poodle.
That's like a.
I love how he can program his battering to knock people out just like that.
Well,
Nope, the dog caught it.
oh, come on.
Oh,
Um,
But it's like, whatever.
Is there a question? Is there a Batman villain made after a dog?
Oh, help me out, Joe. I think there may be one,
Ah.
but well, the Creeper has some elements tied to that.
Yeah.
It's more of just a regular prequel than
God,
anything.
dog-themed villain. I realize that may be one of the few things Batman's not touched base on.
Surprisingly.
Selena, what are you doing?
Oh,
that's
she's
fun.
she's about to have fun the way a cat would by completely
With a
wrecking
whip.
Yeah,
up.
she's yeah, whatever.
She's gonna wreck up
Alright.
one of Max Shrex's places.
How far into the animated series did it take for Catwoman to show up?
Oh,
Not by much, I
not
think.
too long.
Remember, this
I
movie
tell-
kind of popularized the character, so
Hey, Theo,
Yes,
now that she's losing the whip, the outfit kind of looks like a BDSM outfit, if you think
yeah.
about it.
So if anything, Mr. Pitoff, I guess, wasn't too off the track. It's just, man. The guy's like, what the fuck is she doing?
No, I got a better question. Why is she? That was entrapment, and you know it's Selena.
You're overpaid.
Well, at least she was polite enough to let them go.
Where did she get the whip again, Selena, exactly?
I guess she had that in her apartment. I mean,
yeah.
considering the foreshadowing of the movie, probably it was like, hanging on a wall.
Also,
and
hi,
hanging
Wilhelm.
onto-
Yeah, I was like, really?
Oh, boy, yeah,
Okay.
watch this. This is the more infamous scene of the movie, one of the more.
Yeah.
But not just that. Okay, pay attention to Batman's face.
Hey, he's happy about it.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yes, some days apparently you can get rid of a bomb and be a dick with that.
Now,
Seriously.
funnily enough, the video game adaptation suggests that this guy survived that explosion, so
Yeah.
who knows?
I
mean, on the one hand,
While Joker, unfortunately, while he survived, his little friend didn't.
yeah.
Oh, hello. You come here often.
You know, Pat, you and I are not so different. We're both
Yeah,
murderers for one thing.
Every villain says that.
You know, in a way, I guess we could see Michael Keaton's role as him succumbing to the bird villain way. As for how Danny DeVito got cast in this role, I think it had to do something with him being friends with Jack Nicholson or something, and they managed to get him through that.
And he
Possible.
became, he also became one of Tim Burton's regulars. Of sorts.
It's funny because I think we may have Danny DeVito to thank for a certain Austrian getting in on this franchise.
Who are you?
Okay.
Nice name, huh? I'm thinking of going with Meow Woman.
That sounds stupid.
Fine, I'll go with the Purr Suitor.
No.
How about Catwoman?
Whatever.
Yeah, write that on the
That's
headlines.
actually a good question. How did the Penguin manage to get all these different gadgets, considering in this continuity
Shrek made them for him?
he was very poor?
Well, that's
No.
the thing. Apparently, it's assumed that he may have built these while he was on tour with the
With the
circus
circus.
game.
True, I suppose it can make sense.
And like I said, I do love how they retain the whole penguin having these deadly umbrella
Oh.
things. Like, he's got one that's a flamethrower, he's got one that
yeah,
shoots
that's
bullets,
a blade.
he's got that headache one, and of course the helicopter one.
Bruce, you're sucking in combat in this movie. You know that? You're probably out of shape.
It's a villain he's never faced before.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, this is an early '90s movie, and that line shows it.
Yeah.
I think what helps is like, well, she literally just uses it as a means to trick him as opposed to actually being serious about it. Wait, but I thought you were a cat.
Whoop.
And
And
most
besides,
cats.
Yes,
that's the thing,
definitely
though.
a cat, Jova.
And also, funnily enough, at least here in Britain, bitch is kind of a terminology for dog.
Oh, this one
Yeah.
you save?
Oh, well, it's also that case in America too, Dwibs.
Okay, I say in Britain, I don't know how Americans.
I guess the power of boner is strong.
Well, to be fair, for all he knows, she's just a confused woman as opposed to, other people.
What?
I found just what I was looking for. Weak point! Go!
No.
Well,
How convenient.
Hey, I thought Cat was supposed to land
Land on
her
all
feet.
fours, yeah. Tab.
well, at
Get
least he's
it?
finding some humor in the situation.
What a
But yeah,
shitty situation.
another thing that you need to take note is the fact that their costume is gonna get damaged progressively as the movie goes on. Again,
Reflecting her psyche.
psyche and all. Yeah,
No, okay.
Bruce,
Bruce.
you really suck at this.
Okay, Bruce, I know you're a bit injured, but don't worry. All we have to do is put a magic knee brace on you and you'll be instantly
Excuse
cured.
me, I'm Batman. I eat 4 pizzas right now.
Don't worry, Bruce. You just need to put a leg brace on and then you'll be completely cured.
You see, Bruce, next time, don't let the crazy cat lady touch you.
I will keep that in mind next time, Alfred.
Just be glad that she hit you on the side.
Well, actually, I think Dwebs would be a better. He's British, so go ahead, Dwebs. Be Alfred for a bit.
Excuse me, Master Wayne, but remember what happened the last time you met a crazy cat person?
What? I haven't met Nicole Kidman yet.
That's the thing, Master Wayne. I said the last time.
Huh. Well, fine, okay. Alright. Maybe I can get through to her, though. Go.
It took me forever to get the cat fur out of your bat suit.
What a great speech.
Well, it's Danny DeVito. I'd listen. Also, I like how his banner thing is a nice throwback to the Burgess Meredith penguin thing.
What a weird news line. I seriously don't get how journalists work. Ew.
Aw, he's so charming.
Yeah.
And yes, as you may have noticed, but also in the poster before, but the pin, the stylized drawing in the pin represents the penguin in the classic appearance.
Yeah.
The one is also going to be used in the animated series.
Yeah, the one in the classic series is pretty much a mixture of this and all that. Even has, like, in this one, a duck
It just
system.
doesn't have the whole monstrous theme into it.
But guys, he doesn't like being called Penguin. He wants to be known as Oswald Cobblepot.
Makes sense.
Excuse me, this is a private place and all.
Also, too, it's funny you mention that because for the original Batman animated series,
Great line.
he actually does have all the deformities and everything, complete with the web.
Just a question, just out of curiosity, because you surprised me in the first movie. Does this get run on Cartoon Network too?
Yes, it did.
Oh my god!
What is wrong with that network?
Well, I mean, it's a popular movie that a lot of kids loved when they saw it. Like, let's not forget,
Certainly.
when this movie was being made, it was meant for both kids and adults.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Let's not forget, guys, this originally did have a McDonald's meal toy line at some point. Admittedly, it
That's
got
amazing.
pulled.
Selena, you probably chose the worst person to go to.
Yeah, okay. So what are you going to do? Make a policy where if Batman refuses to unmask,
That's the Superhuman Legislation Act, Weaves. That's for Marvel.
No, I got it. If Batman does not unmask, I will put a 1,000% Batman tax on all of Gotham. They'll be
There we
bankrupt
go.
within 2 weeks.
But yeah, with this, the circle is kind of complete. Max Schreck is the counterpart to Bruce Wayne as the millionaire, Catwoman as the superhero identity, and the Penguin as the abandoned child. Each of them reflects something like something similar to Bruce Wayne. And that line from Catwoman that she says we need to turn Batman into what he hates the most, us, can be potentially viewed as Batman being in conflict with the job that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, Theo, on mention of the costume, while Michelle Pfeiffer really enjoyed being in the role and dedicated a lot to getting it right, it was the costume she wasn't a huge fan of. Not necessarily the looks, but it was a real hassle getting into it every single day.
Okay, Selena, what is wrong with you?
There's a lot wrong with her, Theo.
Let it go, Toots.
Oh, no, you don't. Yeah.
And Lord knows, it takes a lot for me to feel good about myself. I had to bomb an entire store.
Getting knocked off a building can put a little bit of a cramp on your day.
I'll say this. It's interesting how Catwoman is the one more obsessed with taking Batman down, whereas Penguin is just like, we should probably just kill him here. But she's like, no, he'll just be more powerful as a martyr.
Yeah, speaking of casting, though, apparently Christopher Walken was almost not cast in the movie because Tim Burton was creeped out by him.
Wait, really?
I'm not blaming you.
Wow.
Wait, creeped out by him, but not by this fucking lady?
Maybe we just found Christopher Walken on set and we're just like, yeah, sure, let's just film him.
Or
why not?
maybe he was a bit nervous because of what happened with that other Catwoman lady.
Yeah, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
I still think.
Ah,
Thanks, Alfred.
the love connection, oh god. That's one thing. Alfred definitely remains to be the most consistent thing about this whole franchise. I guess it helps that he is one of the few people who retains the same actor throughout it all.
Wait, of all the actors considered to play Catwoman, one of them was Cher?
Yes,
How would that have worked?
I'm not surprised.
it's
by that,
just
to be honest.
Cher as Catwoman.
I don't see it, sorry.
But Dribs, do you believe that she could be it?
I prefer her when she's singing, not acting.
So you must have loved her in Mamma Mia too.
Joey, you hear what I said about her, Mamma Mia too.
Look at these two. Both incredibly socially awkward.
I have an incredibly
How do these
torturous
people even
background.
function?
You two, we should totally be friends.
Yeah, I was married to Tony Montana. What about you?
Oh,
Me
God.
out. It's a cat.
Lady, I'll have you know that
Ballsy.
I ended up having a daughter who happened to date one of my enemies here, and I ended up going to prison for it.
I never got out.
Until Spider-Man 3.
Well, we don't know the main plot of that yet.
It's more hoping than anything at this point. Wink, wink. Wink, wink.
That's what they all say, Birdman.
Bruce, you're terrible at dating people, you know that?
That's exactly the thing.
It's a shame that
Theo.
they took out the
Bruce is
delete.
supposed to be good at these kinds of things. That's
Yeah, if I give credit, I want to give credit to the Nolan trilogy. They actually managed to represent Bruce Wayne as the millionaire playboy in full front, even by calling it out itself with having, Alfred saying, you should go out more often and showcase that you're rich and all.
Again, to its credit, I can see what they're trying to do, making Bruce sort of
Kudos.
the recluse here. One who more so excels when he is Batman, but struggles with being Bruce Wayne. It's one of the things I like that Batman Telltales actually plays on here, where you can decide if you want to be a good Bruce Wayne in addition to being a good Batman.
This
I'm
actress is so
Yeah,
stupid.
that's on camera.
Personally, I've always interpreted Bruce's millionaire playboy behavior as a diversion of this guy, so that nobody could ever suspect.
I guess that's the idea behind it. It's just that in these early movies, in this early series, the 90s series, they just don't get represented well under that angle.
Which I can sort of get, seeing as how the time back in the times back then, the focus on Bruce Wayne's persona wasn't as big. I think my favorite balance has to be both the Batman the Animated Series and The Batman. Literally the show called The Batman, especially in The Batman, where there's actually an episode talking about how Bruce needs to remember his role as Bruce Wayne to do his father proud in both that avenue as well as that as being the Batman too, showing that he can have something of a healthy lifestyle even when he spends the night dressing up as a bat. Ah, here we go, yeah.
Yeah, this is the closest you'll get to why he's not dating anymore, Vicky Vale.
For some reason, the actress didn't come back, so
She was a photojournalist. Was she blonde like me?
that's the thing. The only film where where the whole subject of Batman romance isn't really all that big of a deal is in Batman and Robin, and that's the worst one.
And that's
Yeah.
and you know what? That's the only love interest who isn't blonde.
And if you had to ask me, I don't really want Joel Schumacher to tackle
see-
it. Because, okay, technically he does that in Batman Forever, and yeah.
Oh boy, let's just say his love interest in that movie is pretty much a psychopath who's supposed to be a therapist.
Anyway, yes, Pedro.
You see, Vicky, I had to cut down the relationship because it was getting weird. See, Vicky had this thing where she loved to run around in her apartment in her underwear for no reason.
And repeating,
So-
I have a date with Bruce Wayne. I have a date with Bruce Wayne.
So she never got to the actual action like this. Her loss. Her loss.
Oh,
Selena, did
Selena,
you just
just,
purr?
you know, Selena, potential personal experience, but you need to wait like at least one or two times before starting to expose your partner to your kinks.
Oh, she's like a cat, though, on the prowl here, ready
Ooh.
to... Oh, whoopsie.
Again, don't worry, there's nothing wrong as long as everyone is consensual, but take your
Right,
time.
on special bulletin.
Oh. And yes, so basically,
Batman!
well, yeah, Penguin planted fake evidence with that.
Well, it's not so much fake, it's the battering that the dog managed to get during
Yeah.
the last fight scene.
Sorry, I must have missed that scene where I was burped.
So both of these guys have to leave on sudden business. Oh, if only they knew the irony.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, I love how nonchalantly he says it's like, nah, I can't help it. There's been a kidnapping here, and it would be just darn stupid of me not to answer to that call. I mean, there are lives at stake, you know. You
Poor
know.
Alfred is to patch up this poor man's life.
That's interesting because going back to what I was saying, see, one of the cool things about the '89 film is how it was a genuine attempt from the people, the producers involved, to try to bring Batman, mainstream Batman,
Yeah.
back into the so it's in terms of trying to do away with the perception of that the '60s show left on popular culture.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that when Michael Keaton was announced as Bruce Wayne, there was, believe it or not, there was actually kind of a backlash at the time because
He was more of a comedian.
Yeah, Dreams also mentioned that.
So a lot of people were afraid that they were going to, have another. No.
It's not-
That was for 2 movies after.
It's kind of funny how history repeats itself, considering the stuff that had surrounded the Batman and the
So
casting of it.
let me go for the pattern. Warner Brothers want to bring back a darker Batman, but then they don't like darker Batman, so then they go for more lighthearted Batman and Batman Forever, and then things go full circle when Batman and Robin pretty much is the biggest homage to the Adam West era that you can
But
see.
without any of the charm.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It has puns, just like the Adam West series.
Yeah, but
Which
that's only like
only-
maybe
which
2
only
times in an
destroyed-
episode.
Which only destroys the character of Mr. Freeze in that, but I'll reserve that for the movie itself.
It really is a shame.
Batman, you really should park your vehicle. That's CGI didn't age
By the
well.
way, Alfred. So I get the feeling that at some point in the future I'll need to change my face. Could you get the plastic surgery ready?
Very good, sir.
I forgot, Jova. What was that substance that Clayface used? Renee, I think it's called.
Renew goo.
Yeah, that
So,
works
yeah.
too.
So now we're on to phase, I guess, 2 of Discredit the Mayor.
And now it's time for Pimp My Ride, the Gotham City edition.
Lovely.
Apparently, the Penguin has such technological advancement that he managed to outfit these goons with a device that can debilitates the warning systems of a Batmobile so they can tinker with it.
Again, I'll give them credit. They didn't make Penguin dumb in this movie.
Yeah, he thought of every possibility.
Oh, there she is. It's too easy.
Yeah, way too easy. Yeah, Batman just uses the door.
Wow, even the monkey's helping out.
How do you even?
I think maybe there should have been more contingency plans for the Batmobile. I mean,
Another thing that I think would have probably helped this movie a bit is instead of having
Uh-oh.
free villain.
Okay, time for the retorts.
No, Joe, by this is Catwoman. You should say time for the remix.
Yes, Pedro?
One thing I think could have helped this movie in terms of the plot structures, like Theo said, it has free villains in it. And I think it would have been better if we just focused on the Penguin in particular.
Or just get rid of
Um,
Shrek. I think he's the villain that does the least.
Like,
in this
have
movie.
this be a Batman versus Penguin movie, because Penguin is the best character in this movie by far. If you ask
Oh,
me.
absolutely.
Okay, get rid of.
Like
Honestly,
if this was just a purely Batman versus Penguin movie, we could have focused a lot more on the two characters. Because don't get me wrong, I don't mind this take on Selena Kyle, but it's definitely not like the most interesting take on the character.
Why not?
It's very by the numbers.
Yes,
Why
Lips?
not? Why not just get rid of Max Shrek? He's the villain that does the least in this
It doesn't
movie.
help that it's a completely original movie, even that was made for the movie.
Okay, to be fair to Max Shrek, I think he's a villain in this, but he doesn't really take away from anything of the other two villains. He's sort of like the villain who, he's the villain who moves around a lot of the plot. Like, it's because of him that Catwoman exists. It's because of him that Penguin wants to become mayor. Also, ain't that cute? Penguin made...
Seriously, was just standing here for a good
I
comment.
love how Penguin made an umbrella that would summon bats. Like, gotta give him credit. That's a good way to
But
make
hey,
Batman look guilty.
Yay!
Merry Christmas, everyone! The girl is dead. Oh, wait.
And even the statue with the face palm was like,
Wait, hold on.
that.
Maybe she's alive?
Oh.
He told you to hold your
And now
fire,
Batman
dang
is
it.
dead. This Christmas just keeps getting better and better.
But Commissioner, you startled us.
Hey there, handsome. You look like you've been
Selena,
having a rough
we
day.
seriously didn't talk about your kinks.
Oh, hey, Joe. But Commissioner Gordon, you startled us. Of course we were gonna fire.
Bruce?
Bruce, what did we talk
This-
about? Don't let crazy cat ladies touch you.
Yeah, again, remember what happened the last time?
Yeah, I know. Just ask Poison
Just be glad
Ivy.
it's not a poisonous kiss, and that would be really okay then.
Well, this is officially the weirdest thing that's happened to me this week.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. They have a life counter for Catwoman in this movie. Just remember that.
So another Christmas movie that deals with a cat and its lives. It's like the Revenge of Swan Princess Christmas.
No, please.
Swan Princess, Revenge of. What's the?
Bruce, are you
word
just
that was-
collecting those?
Revenge of
That's a
Swan,
second has been jammed into your skin.
There's Batman. He's getting away. Open fire!
And apparently had a glider installed in his cape. Sure, why not?
Always be prepared for this.
It's the Batman. He's escaping. Open fire!
Now he's perfectly camouflaged with behind all those bats.
But
At
he's
least they're trying to be
giant.
Christmassy here.
Oh, don't worry, Sheree. They'll even tie
Yes, they managed to tinker with Batmobile and put it back in the same identical conditions where it was before. How?
Again, they're very dedicated to their craft here.
Funny, because it came out the same year.
Before or after?
Well, actually, too.
I thought it was 92, Pedro, wasn't it?
No, 92 was Aladdin.
Let me check.
No, don't drink the champagne. It's poisoned.
Why would he poison
Or
her?
roofied.
To I don't know, hypnotize Catwoman into I don't know.
Oh, God.
You.
Fun fact, actually. There was a different cut of this movie originally where Penguin and Catwoman would have been in a relationship with one another.
Was that the original draft where we're supposed to find a treasure under Wayne Manor?
Why, yes, the very same one where Dick Grayson
fun
shows
thing,
up.
that plotline kinda sorta got revived for a specific
and now
Elseworld story called Batman the White Knight.
And now
Seriously?
because Catwoman won't sleep with him, now she's
that.
out.
Remember, Jova, that story in itself,
Right.
that story in itself is a sort of a sequel to, it can be counted potentially as a sequel to this particular movie series.
Batman White Knight.
It's the Elseworld story where the Joker becomes sane and becomes the
yeah,
true
that.
protector.
Yeah, I've read that one.
Selena?
Okay,
I'm sure she'll
You're
be
okay.
fine.
left.
No.
Yeah, apparently the Penguin managed to also reconstruct like a quarter slot machine of the Batmobile.
That
He's
is-
using that white light to control.
That is just adorable.
Yeah, Aladdin came out in '92.
But yeah, I mean, Penguin is without a doubt the best
Okay,
villain in
Waves,
this movie.
the star
Yeah.
count, how much are we on?
3, because for killing cops.
True.
Don't worry, they're
I don't
probably
think
alive.
That's count since it's out of his control.
Again, Batman, I don't think it helped when you were driving away. Your face looked like you were pissed rather than, scared.
What a
excuse me,
shame.
Mr. Cobblepot, I hear you muttering about the school of driving in your trailer.
Oh yes, it's gonna be in the registration in my new campaign here. I'm thinking about resetting the
Oh,
driving
CD,
age to
what is that?
16.
What is
Also, why
this?
did you-
A CD? I only know about floppy disk. What is this sorcery?
Oh, hang on. Wretched Pinhead Puppets of Gotham? What's that all about?
It's me recounting all the
kinda
slimy
funny,
thing that
the
politicians
Italian-
have said.
It's kind of funny. The Italian Davi says something slightly different. He says something like, I have played angels'
wait
harps
for
to
it.
demons to take control of his city.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that.
Batman is destroying the city.
Don't worry, guys.
That's
LexCorp
right.
will take care of the damage, as usual.
I'm
like-
sure
it's like
it
in-
will.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on in that van?
You don't want to know out of Nicky Nucky by the looks of it.
Oh, that's the line. Then I just got confused again.
You know, the funny thing is that there's an Elseworld story where he goes on to become not just mayor of Gotham, but eventually the president of the USA. So I guess
I mean, Jova, in the actual DC universe, Lex Luthor became the president of the United States once. I'm not too surprised at this point. Oh no! Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I'm surprised,
not the
no
helpless old
one- I'm
lady.
I'm surprised no one's overhearing what he's doing in the van.
it's very soundproofed.
But what's there's all the shaking about that's going on in there.
We
He's
seem
really
to be
mad he
having
couldn't run over
technical
that old lady.
difficulties.
Yeah, fuck off.
Oh,
Still a matter to run away from the cops, so what to do? Also, what kind of... Okay, I get that Gotham is a weird architecture, but why would you put your buildings like that?
Yeah, that's just.
it doesn't seem to be working.
But
Alfred, why isn't it working?
well, you maybe put to the screen didn't help, sir.
Oh my god, Batman was actually worried for a second there. Ah, yes, the nasal design came in handy. I told Alfred this would come in handy someday.
Seriously,
And the cops are
and,
dead.
and murder some cops too. Seriously, I don't know the practicality of that design aside from this purpose.
Hey, in a place
Yeah.
like Gotham, you gotta be prepared for this kind of crap.
I guess.
Bladder control.
Sure.
Max
Max
Grade
Grade.
Ball. Oh yeah, I love this scene actually. It's my favorite one of the movie.
Of course. Cobblepacking, clean it up.
But has he listed any policies?
Hmm?
So, that's two men who have pushed you out of a building, Selena. On the
Is that
same
all,
stage.
Come on, dude. We get it. The previous mayor was crap, but let's hear about your specific proposals.
Pedro, if there's one thing I've learned from politicians is that you don't really need to talk about yourself. You could just demonize
Yeah.
the other party and it'll work
He's got a
perfectly
point
well.
there.
Hang on.
Oh, fishes.
He has a Wayne Manor replica in the aquarium that can turn on a secret passage. What the hell?
Gotta give him credit.
Why
Not many
not?
people would think that one.
Master Wayne, the
And
history of
the entrance is in an
die.
Iron Maiden.
Anything to remember, Ter, it's all about the cool visuals for Tim.
Yeah, remember because in the '60s show they had to run down through a firefighters tube.
Master Bruce, was there
Okay.
any reason you had to go down the Ephesus Special
So,
Iron Maiden slide?
Yeah, we're about to see the Bat Computer doing something unusual.
I actually, this is one of my favorite tropes. Actually, using something the villain did earlier to expose his plan in front of the whole world and make him look like an idiot in the process. Yeah.
Give us Parappa.
Yeah, that's the thing when the Christopher Walken is the least, the least quirky out of all the villains.
All on
With
disc.
CDs. Again, I'm surprised that they didn't use floppies, but actual CDs.
This was
Well,
back in that
CDs
day when
were-
people were wondering
Yeah,
if CDs
I
were going
love
to take over, if they were just a fad.
Oh,
CDs were for the rich kids.
And this was before, high digital editing was
Um,
a thing, so yeah.
fake news.
Okay, he didn't say it exactly like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
Oh boy.
Boo!
Boo!
Remix!
Yeah, and hey Alfred, get ready to release my techno remix. Yeah, come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, heart from hell. Yeah, it's like-
Well, that
Yeah, whatever.
celebration may be cancelled, I'm afraid. Oh, I love this line coming up soon.
Jesus Christ, that's a bombardment.
yeah.
That is
know,
a good
right?
question.
It's like asking why there's always a fruit cart.
You're just making a mod for your own back, trying to kill the citizens.
Hey, it was self-defense. They fired first, okay?
Yeah, but it was tomatoes and lettuce versus bullets. And now he's back to how he started, being chased
Yeah.
out by everybody.
Oh, just like at
Including
this
jumping
old
from
bridge
the same
again.
bridge.
I'm
Oop.
going back from whence he came. Okay, so
What to do
trying to
now?
beat the mayor didn't work.
Hmm. Actually,
Who are you?
didn't we raise you? So shouldn't you be like our baby or something?
Well, new generations and all, Jova.
I guess.
How much is the lifespan of a penguin?
Hmm.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, now he wants to be known as Penguin.
Yeah, basically, now he's rejecting his It's symbolic for how he's rejecting his humanity now.
Again, another
Yeah.
reflection to Bruce's own struggles with dedicating his whole life to being the Bat, or letting there be a balance.
So yeah, let's just say that, as Bruce called it, surprisingly, he wasn't just there in the Gotham Community Hall for himself.
Basically, he wanted to get a little revenge on his parents for dumping him.
And of all things, he's reenacting essentially the 10th plague, kidnap and potentially kill every single firstborn in Gotham. How oddly specific.
Admittedly, in the 10th Commandment, I think it was like they killed every single son as opposed to just the firstborn.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's more like the spirit of God that goes through each house and murders them, the one that are not marked. Yeah, I shouldn't have speak that.
Well, to answer your question, a little penguin, which I assume is a normal penguin, lives about 6 years, whereas an emperor penguin lives about 20.
Huh.
Okay.
Bit of a difference.
Yeah. Also, Alfred, you got some balance. Seriously, you're standing on a very narrow position. Show me, Nina.
Master Bruce, I just ripped it up.
Maybe we'll just say it got lost in the post, but we'll say
Bruce,
yes.
at this point, that relationship has to go. Come on. You need to say no. So, yeah. Also, they were using Can't
Can't
Touch
touch
This,
this.
seriously. But anyway, yeah, see, everyone is in a mask, but Bruce goes for himself because he's used to wear a mask. Get it?
Huh.
You're exempt from the evening.
Oops.
Yeah.
Sure you are. And I'm the goddamn angel.
I thought he said. I thought he said lol for a second.
Oh, I think they're about to play the iconic number of his tune, Face to Face, that was made for this.
Oh, there she is. And see, just like him, she's not wearing a mask. See how they're made for each other and all.
Sure would be a shame if something bad were to happen to her.
Hi.
Yes, they are playing the song Face to Face that was made for this movie. Forgot who sung that one, though. So, where exactly are we in this relationship, Selena? We went from snogging and nearly making out to then having to run out on urgent business.
Story of my life.
If you need to know, Java, the band was a British one called Sushi and the Banshees.
Oh, congrats, Dwibs.
Sorry, congrats on what? Sorry.
It's a British band doing the song for this movie this
Oh,
time.
cool. What
Apparently,
was
it was
the
a
band
personal request of Tim Burton because he was being a fan.
Something called
what was the-
Sushi. Dio?
Sushi and the Banshees. I'll type it in.
That's an interesting name.
I've never heard of them, but it's great to know. Siouxsie and the Banshees were a British rock band from 1976, broke up in 1996, and had a brief reunion in 2002.
How nice. Oh, God. Me and the man who pushed me out a window.
Good times.
Yeah, I shot Max with this gun.
But his son will just do the same thing.
Oh, you have no idea what my boss has put me through.
But yeah, there's these, as you can see, where the whole Shadow Psyche thing reflects in the fact that Serena seems to have some form of acknowledgement of her folly and some potential regret, but she's too far gone to go for.
It was too late. Snoke got to her already. Oh, sorry, wrong movie.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yeah. See, there you go. For the first time ever, someone actually managed to discover the secret identity of Bruce Wayne. For non-comic book, wise media, this was actually a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if I call it may have happened once or twice in the Adam West show, but of course it was played more for comedy than anything.
It's quite a big blowout of a mystery.
For everyone, chill. Oh no, wait, it's 2 movies from now.
It's funny because there actually is an episode of The Batman that involves both Penguin and Mr. Freeze.
Wait, there's someone with the Big Bang construction for a mask? What the
Yeah.
fuck was that?
Oh my
called
god, it's the duck!
creativity.
Oh.
Oh my god, it's that guy from It's Always
I mean,
Sunny in
he's
Philadelphia!
He's a penguin, yet he comes in on a ducky.
That's sort of his thing. It's a duck from the zoo.
That'd be like if Joker came in on a mime instead of a clown.
Remember, he had hench mimes in the first movie.
Maybe use a reaction crowd stock sound effect.
It's not wrong.
Jesus.
Just to remind you that I do, in fact, have a redeeming quality.
Yeah, of all things, despite his dickishness and all, Shrek
loves his
actually
son.
cares about his son.
And he's willing to die for him.
Quite a rare trait for a
his
villain.
son's willing to die for him, so
Wait, you weren't supposed to agree with me.
I mean, well, he's saving his son, so I guess that's all he cares about at this point.
Mind the penguins.
Father, no!
Well, honey, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is not the wildest party I've been to.
Definitely the weirdest one, though.
Yeah. Wow, even Shrek is disgusted by that.
How?
Cute! He's gonna do what the Pied Piper did, taking up to 11.
Lovely.
Oh. Okay.
Meanwhile, just that is going on. So you're telling me
You see,
that
you see,
every...
this So this is what happens when you let Burton off the leash. He spends a lot of the film's
On a
budget on a
train.
train.
I mean, I will admit it looks cool. So it kind of reminds me of the carriage of the child kidnapper in City City Bang Bang. Something similar to that.
Surprise.
Ta-da! Poor monkey.
About that.
Let's see. Got your gang. LOL. Don't add me, Batman.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a future one of those Batman animated movies where Batman, for some reason, it's one of those kind of people.
So does that stop Penguin? Oh, heck no. He's got another
Time
backup
for
plan.
C, I guess.
Where penguins rule the earth.
Okay, this is one of the most iconic things about this penguin. He has a flipping nuclear penguin army.
Because
Didn't the Justice League movie reference this film?
Yes, they did.
It's like an army of penguins.
Hey, he's equal opportunity. What a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm an equal opportunity murderer. I kill everyone. Man, woman, white, black, whatever.
Well, I, for one, welcome our new penguin overlords.
of course.
Okay. Question, guys. Considering considering what people are taking over the world, who would you rather be run by, penguins or Disney?
I mean, I guess penguins will be more interesting to see how the chaos ensues.
Yeah, and Cobblepot seems like he's willing to take more risks than Disney seem to these days. Also, I kind of prefer penguins over mice.
Also, Bruce has managed to find a way for having the Batmobile using its its boat form to get into the sewers of Gotham. Yeah, if I had to say something, if you had to ask me, they could have cut away the part of where Bruce is framed for murder and expand a bit more on that, on like how this climax feels a bit rushed when you get down to it.
Alfred, I told you that Batwing 2.0 would be a success, and you laughed at me when I said I needed it to be capable of
Also,
traversing
where's
through the
Morgan Freeman
sewers.
when you need him?
But yeah, like Teals just say, this climax does feel a bit rushed, and let's just say this movie eventually commits what I like to call MCU villain atrocity. You'll see what I mean later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that earlier draft, Teo, because yeah, in that draft, Penguin and Catwoman were supposed to be in a relationship, looking for a treasure or something. Not quite sure if it was under Wayne Manor. But also, Dick Grayson was supposed to be in that movie.
Yeah, I think the fact that they were under Wayne Manor was supposed to be like the twist or something.
Yeah, here's the thing. Dick Grayson was supposed to be in that movie, but he would never become Robin.
So, kind of like in The Dark Knight Strikes... Sorry, not Strikes Again.
And he was supposed to die.
Dark Knight Rises.
And he was supposed to die.
Oh, okay, that's not Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Jesus. Thank you, Poodle Lady.
That statue looks like an award.
Yeah, the statues in Gotham here seems to be weird. There was one, there's this one, the one that looked like it was face palming. It was pulling the gears. Okay.
Is that going to be the new award, the Penguin Award or something? What would that be for?
For being one of the most tragic yet most vile villains.
But Joby, you could say that about every Batman villain.
Well, there's some Batman villains who aren't really tragic, just pretentious, but I digress.
There we go.
This is just a day that chose to crap on Oswald Cobblepot.
Yes, we think we notice. So what to do now? Yeah, I guess that's the real twist of a movie. The only people who can understand Christopher Walken's acting are the monkeys. What are you doing? Okay, Batman, I understand and everything, but I'm pretty sure you don't have to customize the sound of your bat radar.
Yeah.
He did just
But
that.
he had one for the penguins beforehand, now he's having one for the duck.
Cute. Well, time to get the heck out of Dodge.
Whoop. Here's Batman.
Pretty much.
Hey, same studio and all.
Not my best landing, Alfred, but I think I did it.
At least the Batmobile didn't get crashed this time.
All right.
Oh,
finally.
jeez.
It's part of my character arc. Not your best one. So, the final fight, and you picked a sword umbrella.
Whoop.
Do you know who I am?
I'm the Batman, bitch.
And I've got your penguin army right in the control of the palm of my hand. Strike me down in anger, as if you even could.
Oh.
And then he presses the button by mistake.
Yeah, about that. Fire away. Oh,
Yeah,
complete
seriously,
with the
what were you
bats and
expecting was gonna
everything.
happen?
I guess he didn't know how that one works. That looked like
Oof.
it hurt.
Well, remember, that's supposed to be the toxic waste of Shrek. And Batman just incinerate. Mind you, the zoo was abandoned, so it's not like he killed everyone else, but still.
It's okay too. The zoo was evacuated.
Literally. In this case, literally.
Honestly, it didn't even look like many people would go there anyway.
Oop. Nope.
Oh, hey, it's you.
I thought guns don't work underwater.
Oh, don't worry, he won't use it underwater.
Looked like it was going to for a second. Oh.
Yeah, let's just say that Selina kinda lost whatever patience had remained in her.
Heh.
Maybe that's why the next time Catwoman appears, she was called Patience.
Damn it.
I gave at the office.
I gotta love how even in this super friendly situation, Walken can't still properly act panicking. It's like,
I mean, he's walking, Tio. The world just wouldn't feel right if he did panic. Because he's the one who creates the panic every time. Never the other way around. Totally.
yeah, just shut up.
We should probably get the fudge out of here, guys. Just saying. I'd rather not be Chris Bacon.
Oh, sure, because the police always do a truckload in this city.
Hey,
They're
let's
always
just-
so helpful.
Let's just assume that the police know that I was innocent too, and we
I
shouldn't
mean,
have any
just
trouble.
look at me. I've been accused of murder, but as you may notice, the police is still not chasing me anymore, so...
Yeah, I guess they kind of figured out that penguin guy who played the city like a harp from hell may have been the one actually behind kidnapping the Ice Queen.
So yeah, for once it's Batman who says we're not this so different, you and I.
Ha! Did you have to rip it?
Yeah, it was in that material.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was meant to be taken like that. I think that's why. Maybe, I
But
don't know.
did he
Yeah.
have to, though?
I don't quite understand.
How about that, honey? Just I'll save that for the end of the movie. Jesus. Yeah, wait.
I love how he can't believe that he's Batman.
Yeah, was.
Dang, he actually shot him in the face, I think.
It's a revolver, so no, I think.
Six.
Yeah, again, there's this weird mysticism around Catwoman in this movie that I seriously don't get.
Maybe he's just not
Also,
shooting
judging
in the
by
right
his
places.
Again, at the end of the day, in the comics, Selene is just a thief with a costume motif. She's agile, sure, and all, but she's not like super strong or anything.
Also, judging by his expressions, he doesn't get it either.
Don't tase me, bro. I mean, I don't know, Celine. I think Christopher Walken acting is already this explosive, so I don't know how much more you can improve it.
I guess you wanted to make Kevin Bacon out of him.
What a story, Mark. Sure.
Well, now we've got our fried Walken.
Okay, so, Penguin. Yeah, he kind of
bit,
got banged up pretty badly.
Yeah. Just that being immersed in the chemical waste too, so...
I'm still alive.
Alright, you got one last chance to kill the Batman.
Meanwhile,
You feel
Bruce is
lucky?
searching for the wreckage. Well, this is quite a way to go out, like fried chicken, if I do say so myself.
But it seems to be only him, not Selina.
Fun fact, actually, in the comic book, I don't know if it was by accident, but they clearly showed two fry
Yeah.
bodies.
They just say that the... Damn it, you got the wrong one.
Wrong umbrella.
Let's just say that the comic book adaptation of this particular Batman movie is kind of the worst of the bunch. It cuts away a lot of stuff. It doesn't reintegrate any of the cutted scenes. So
Hell,
for
the
worst.
Penguin ain't even wounded during this scene. And there we go. Dead.
Boop.
Oh.
Now,
and,
this
and,
is...
and Batman is like, what the fuck just happened?
This is where the movie takes a very weird turn. I know. That's
And now
saying
the
something.
penguins show up.
Yeah,
with
the
funeral
Penguins
march.
showed up and do a sort of a funeral march and all. Okay,
to bury
Tim,
their
I
leader.
love this movie and all, but I don't get it.
I can't
What
tell
was
if
the
he's
idea?
trying to make us feel sorry for the Penguin. Like, I get it. The Penguin had a very, very, very crappy childhood. It's just that you also had him trying to drown every son in Gotham, and okay, I really do feel like we did not need to kill the villains in this one here. Like,
It goes down to what I was talking about earlier. I still believe that it would have been better off to not have Catwoman in this movie and just fully entire focus on the Penguin, and maybe if we could have a more insight into him, then this probably would have worked better.
probably.
I think I agree.
Whereas just killing him here feels very off-putting here. Like, it
Well,
feels...
even in general, Jova, the three villains are being killed in a very gruesome way too, mind you.
Oh, yeah. About that whole thing about whether or not Selina Kyle lives or whatnot, I don't
Again,
know.
just by the end of the movie, actually I have a sort of surprise, but I don't think even
Merry
Jova
Christmas,
knows.
everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, though, I mean, this movie kind of commits MCU villain atrocity in the sense that it kills off the villains.
So, Alfred, wanna get a turkey or something for Christmas?
Should we get drive-through, sir?
Sure, why not?
Turkeys are expensive.
Oh?
Especially around Christmas, they sell you the entire fucking thing and it's massive.
Well, it's good when you have a whole family to have it with.
True. You
40
seen something,
pounds, though?
Bruce?
For a moment, I thought I saw
the
hope.
bin. But no, I saw Michael Keaton's future Batman career in the trash.
Don't worry, I think he'll work better as a
Oh,
villain.
Yeah, maybe.
In
It's just a cat.
RoboCop, of
What's wrong with
course.
I keep forgetting that he's the villain in the RoboCop reboot.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tio, fun fact. You have him acting opposite Commissioner Gordon in that movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the thing, Teo. That's the thing, Teo. Michael Keaton's new thing in movies is being the villain. He was the villain in Dumbo. Yes, there's a villain in the new Dumbo. Don't ask. It's stupid. He was the villain in Homecoming. He was the villain in that RoboCop reboot. This is kind of his thing now. He's more villain rather than a comedian.
It's like Mark
So yeah,
Hamill.
maybe there is some slight relief for this Christmas for Bruce.
At least he got a cat out of the deal.
He got a
Very-
pet.
A very clean one, mind you, considering it's supposed to be stray with all the snow and all.
And it's Christmas night.
Thank you, Alfred.
And now this will convince Bruce to get more into the public light, I guess.
And again, unlike the previous movie, remember in a so triumphantly and all, this is just more somber. Mind you, it's not completely downer, considering also what we're about to see, but it's still clearly different from what we see. And believe me, by the time of the next movie, the tables will turn.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the last time Michael Keaton plays Batman.
Well,
Bit of a
the
shame.
second and last week, so not that much.
Hey,
Oh,
Selena.
Catwoman was alive.
So yeah, here's an interesting thing, Jovan. Again, I haven't seen it myself, but reports suggest that in the Crisis on Infinite Earth Arrowverse crossover, there is a reference to this particular continuity.
Oh,
because
yeah.
remember, it's sort of and interesting thing of all, it seems there is a photo of Batman and Selina Kyle as a couple, meaning that eventually they will hook up.
Aww, that's nice.
But that's probably after the events of Batman and Robin anyway.
Well,
For this one,
it takes a
final
little bit of
thoughts, sir.
suffering to get to the good end. Who wants to go first with their final thoughts?
Can I go first?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't like this as much as Batman 1989, but I still enjoy it a lot, mainly because of the villains.
Definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
they're the protagonists of this movie for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have Danny DeVito being pretty much channeling the
Burgess
channeling
Meredith.
Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. You got Christopher Walken being Christopher Walken, and you have Michelle Pfeiffer. I swear, her character is what would happen after Tony Montana, after her being with Tony Montana's wife left him. She would go insane, go to Gotham, and turn into a cat.
Amazing.
Of course.
I mean, yeah. The Gothic architecture is still pretty nice looking. Gothic Gotham.
yeah.
You're so funny, dwarves.
I'm gonna miss it in the next movie. I still enjoy it. I mean, there are a couple of iffy things, like Batman strapping a bomb to a guy. But still, I do enjoy this film, and again, it is a shame that a lot of things were changed in the next one because this film apparently didn't do as well as the previous film in cinemas, at the box office at least.
Yeah, I
Mind you,
forgot to
it still
mention,
did do rather
budget-wise, this was-
successfully.
Budget-wise, it was 80 millions and grossing out to 266.8 million. Technically speaking, a success, but with said not as much as the previous one. There was clearly a difference in gravitas.
Yeah, you'd think that Warner Brothers would just try and restrain Burton some more, but no, they pretty much just demoted him to executive producer.
Well,
the
he
thing
was you have a producer, not executive producer.
Well, the thing is, Joe, remember, like, he was even very, very trying to not do this movie even to begin with. So it was abundantly clear by this point that Tim Burton's original idea was just to make that 189 film and just move on. It's just, and I wouldn't be surprised if, regardless, Tim Burton, okay, I'm done with Batman after this, because remember, Warner Brothers had to wait and tried their fucking hardest to try to get Burton to finally sign on for this movie. It's abundantly clear that Burton was kind of done with Batman. So,
Although, wasn't there words that he was actually on board for the third movie, but then it was WB who decided to kick him off?
that I do not know.
I don't know that either. I know something else, but go on, Dweebs. Finish off first.
But yeah, that's it. I do like this movie.
Yeah, I discovered something here, Jova. Apparently, the role of Max Schreck, as character-wise, well, the actor-wise, he was supposed to be potentially played by David Bowie, of all people, but he
Wow.
refused because he was working on Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which it's kind of nice on its own weight. But get this, Jova.
Yeah.
The role of Shrek was intended originally for Harvey Dent. And remember what was
Oh.
supposed to happen in the end? Max was supposed to be dumping a bunch of chemical waste, which me thinks it would have been helped to transition better towards Two-Face. The only reason why this didn't happen is because Billy D. Williams had decided to get out of the role, essentially. So
Oh, the
he
irony.
quitted. This is also why in the next movies we will see the role of Harvey Dent is played by someone completely different, but only due time. Who wants to be next?
Sure, I?
Me?
Oh,
Oh,
Pedro.
go ahead, Pedro.
Come on, Pedro.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those things where, on its own merits, the movie is an entertaining romp, I guess I can say. I mean, the actor, Danny DeVito, is the highlight, definitely, as Penguin. Yeah, although, like I said, I kind of wish we would have focused him as the only villain so we could properly have again, my major issue with this movie is the lack of focus. Because this movie is trying to be both a Catwoman movie and a Penguin movie. As a result, it cannot give each of the two villains its due attention, because we have to constantly alternate between the two. And as a result, Batman once again gets kind of sidetracked as a side character in his own movie. So it's one of those things where, again, I wish the focus would have been better. Because the focus again is on the villains, which, don't get me wrong, Penguin is a good character in this. It's just that it's called Batman Returns. I kind of wish Batman would also have
Batman barely returns in these movies.
Yeah, that's my problem. I mean, if Tim wanted to make a Penguin movie, he should have just made a Penguin movie. How about this? How about make a Penguin origin movie? I would have loved to see that.
WB, get on that.
Not
Like,
just that. Well, okay. Nowadays it will probably work better, but back in the day, remember, this was after. Remember, the Batman movie surprised everyone by the fact that after this, sorry, not after, before this, the closest thing we had to the superhero movie series was the Superman one, and that ended with its own tragedy kind of worms. So I guess WB in this case was trying to take things, in a more quiet kind of
No,
way.
but
I
remember, Teo, that Tim Burton's condition for this movie is that, okay, I'll return, but only if you give me complete creative freedom. So this was all Tim.
Well, I guess he was having that thought process, I suppose.
Admittedly, they did hire him for a Batman movie, not a Penguin movie. Much as I would love a movie completely dedicated to Danny DeVito.
Yeah, but it's just one of those, like Catwoman. Catwoman is fine. I don't mind this particular iteration of Catwoman. It's just that she's kind of crazy, and they do have that thing where Bruce is kind of wants to redeem her and all that stuff. But again, because the movie focuses more on the Penguin, that doesn't get fleshed out enough.
I feel they do enough with that to show her arc and now she's too damaged. Although it's funny you mentioned that Catwoman was one of the things that everyone apparently liked, to the point that they were going to make a spin-off movie for her. We all know how that turned out.
Movie, again, was supposed to be originally a sequel to this movie, showing what Selina Kyle was doing, but that got delayed until it turned into that beast we saw. But anyway, go on.
No, it's just like again, this is one of those cases where, again, like for example, I don't, of course I like the, like Jova said, I do like the fact that both villains are a reflection of one of Bruce's personality aspects. My problem is that particular element is there, but it's only there on a surface level. The movie never slows down to explore those aspects. Instead, they're there, but they're there on a surface level. The movie never actually explores them on a more meaningful way, and that's my issue, because Tim Burton is this movie seems more focused on parading the Penguin, and just having Selina do kinky shit, and that's my issue. It's the lack of story focus. It's just that. I mean, 89. I felt had a lot more grasp on a more focused story than this one.
It did.
And I think the movie suffers because of the lack of focus. Really, that's the primary issue. Like, I still would. If I was Tim, I would definitely drop the Catwoman and save the Catwoman for a possible third movie, and let this be the Penguin movie, because the Penguin is by far the best thing about this movie. And so that should have been the focus. Like, okay, if you can't make, if Batman has to be in it, make it just Batman versus the Penguin, so we can properly focus on both those characters. And that's how I would have done it. I also find the tone a bit uneven, because the movie has a lot of times where it wants to be serious and dramatic and tragic and all that stuff, but then we have moments that looks just flat out silly, like with the characters, with the Penguin doing a lot of over-the-top gadgets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's that uneven feel to it. I'm not saying you can't have some humor or anything, and that's not the issue. My thing is that, like, if the movie wants to be, the movie can seem to pick what it wants to be, tragic and somber, or fun and wacky. So it decided to be both. And I don't think it managed to quite mesh those two tones together very well, to be honest. So as a result, it kind of creates this awkward middle ground of a tone that is a bit off to me. So again, it's one of those things where, and again, I still don't particularly buy Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. As Batman, definitely. As Bruce Wayne, though, he's fine. He gets the job done, but for as much as a lot of people from my generation will stigmatize this, I still think, despite Christian Bale does a much better Bruce Wayne. Not Batman.
For a moment, I thought you were about
definitely.
to say Ben Affleck.
Well, Ben Affleck as well, actually. I actually really like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, to be honest. Yes.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about, he hasn't gotten the proper chance to shine. But the times where he's on screen in Batman v Superman, he's by far the best thing about that.
It is believable.
How does it feel
Yeah,
knowing
that's
that
the key
sooner or later
word.
we'll have to see how Edward Cullen does this take
Like
as
I said,
Batman.
I am optimistic on that, honestly.
Yeah,
Especially
true.
with Geoff Johns now handling properly how the DC extended universe works.
True that.
There. Okay.
But again, we'll see.
Okay. So yeah, like again, the movie's fine. Like if I just turn off my brain and just enjoy the wackiness and the fun, because it is a fun movie to watch. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is like, but I just it's just that okay. The '89 movie, while I had issues with that one, it would still work as a story, and it was so all they had to do really was iron out the kinks that movie had, and we'd have gotten a really great Batman movie. But instead, this movie replaced. Not only did this movie keep some of the issues that I had with the first movie, but introduced new ones. And I kind of wish we would. I guess it really comes down to what Jova said. It's the lack of restraint on Burton's part that really causes the issues. He tried to do so much with this movie. He tried to be a jack of all trades, but the master of none.
I have to wonder if it's because he wasn't expecting to make a sequel, so he wanted to get in as much as he could while he had all the free control. And I'll give him credit. I've seen a lot worse movies that have tried to stack a lot in. Like, well, as far as movies that try to pack a lot in, this is definitely one of the better results from what I've seen, like, by far, definitely. But you can still tell.
I agree. I like this movie better than Spider-Man 3, for example. I think this movie, at the very least, has more of a grasp than Spider-Man 3, for example, which also tried the free villain thing. And definitely better than Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah, God, especially.
But Pedro, this movie doesn't have Jova as a guest, so therefore it's not comparable.
Oh, no. Why you always got to bring that up?
Well, remember, Batman.
I don't remember that for another time.
Well, remember, Batman is in Gotham, not in New York.
No, he's talking about how I'm technically in that godforsaken movie.
Don't worry, Jova, I'll tell you more later.
Sure.
Go on.
Well, Debbie, you got paid for it, so yeah.
Although, however, like I said, the music is fantastic. The visuals are really, really freaking good. However, I still think that the art direction is a bit inconsistent in the sense that, for example, the Penguin looks great.
Definitely.
I don't mind the way the Catwoman outfit looks, but it is true. Sometimes it looks more like a BDSM outfit than anything. However, there's some other things like for example, those calls at the beginning where I felt like they would look a bit too out of place in a movie like this, but whatever. I felt, again, the art direction in the '89 film felt more restrained and appropriate. This one looked like it looks like, again, much like the rest of the movie, it's a bit all over the place for me. So yeah, it's a fun romp as long as I turn off my brain. But like as a story, not even just a Batman story, as a story in general, I don't really think it works very well. Like I said, like that ending with the Penguin would have worked a lot better if we focused more on him and give a more proper justification for that ending. Because that ending, like Jova and Teo said, feels like a bit a weird turn. Like but it could have worked if the movie bothered to build up to it, give more justification for it. But unfortunately, we had to focus on Selina Kyle. Whatever. Okay. Watch it. Okay, for me, it's just fine. Just watch it as a fine guilty pleasure. But this is still not the Batman movie I was waiting for in '92. Mask of the Phantasm, I will argue, is probably I like Mask of the Phantasm better than this one.
And that only came out a year after this one. So
yeah.
Wow.
That movie has its own problems, like we've talked about in our commentary, but I still like that one better than this one. I feel that one has a much more well-crafted story than this one. And that's about it for me. It's a fine and guilty pleasure, but it's still not the Batman movie that I wanted. Go ahead.
Shiroi, you're the complete newcomer for this one. What do you think?
Well, I'm sure it's going to be the case with all of these movies, but I'm going to have to trust all of you when you say, a certain movie isn't a good Batman movie. So I'm just gonna have to take your word for it on that front.
Well, okay. Well, honestly speaking, just like, don't even bother going about if you enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it though?
Yes.
Yeah, just judge it on its just for what you. Yeah.
Well, that was kind of the point. I mean, aside from the Bass Ackwards tone shift, um, I did enjoy it. It was a fun movie.
How about the cats?
They're lovely.
Best cats, 10 out of 10.
Even the one that licked Batman's face. Oh wait, that was a
Ew.
woman dressed as a cat.
Yeah, that wasn't a cat. That was a crazy lady. Yeah, I just really like this. I don't know which one I like more, this or the first one we watched, but it was fun.
hmm
Alright then, Jova.
Yeah, I actually really liked this movie as a kid, and I still really like it now. I will say this though, I do feel like the ending comes off a little too bitter. Like, again, you got all the villains supposedly dying, though it is nice to hear that Selena does live in the long run. I mean, I guess that ending was to
Oh,
imply
that's
that.
already the ending implied, but it pretty much tells you that. It's just that.
It's just that if she apparently goes in
Little
hiding.
Extra seems to be telling that they actually managed to get their own happy ending.
Yeah, that's nice. It is a shame that they kill the penguin off. Like, well, I feel like they could have done a lot more interesting stuff with him, and like, I feel like we could have given him a more climax final battle than just falling into the water and then dying of his wounds.
Yeah, Batman and the Penguin trade don't even trade that much punches with each other.
Yeah,
There's a lot of banter, I would admit that, but not much fisticuffs.
it is kind of a shame, honestly, because like Pedro said, the Penguin is definitely the best handled character in this movie. Like, he is arguably the thing that drives a lot of the plot here, aside from Max Schreck doing this or that. It is interesting to see how a kid got so screwed over in life that, well, of course he became a Batman villain. Like, that is one thing. They actually give the Penguin a rather compelling backstory in this movie. A kid who was literally flushed down the drain by his own parents because they didn't like how he looked. Admittedly, he didn't act the best either, if what he did to that cat is any indication. But still, nonetheless, that's no way to treat a child.
Though, Jova, if you've noticed, at what happens basically near the beginning of the third act or the climax, what the movie tells you is that the Penguin, due to his own castle of cards that crumbles on him, but still he renounces of the humanity that was trying supposedly to accomplish, and instead embraces the monstrosity that is him.
Again, a nice parallel between him and Batman here and there. So yeah, the set design is definitely as iconic as ever. Heck, it's even more iconic, arguably. That's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it, because, oh boy, does Burton go loose and wild with this movie.
Yeah,
and
this
its
particular
looks.
setting of Gotham will be referenced a lot in Batman medias to come.
But, I can definitely see why. As for the villains here, okay, let's talk about the Mooks. The Red Circus Triangle gang here. They're an interesting concept. It is kind of a shame that we don't exactly get to know more about their backstory, but at the end of the day, it's Penguin we're mainly focusing on. Again, I find it also ironic that of all the villains, it's not the Joker who was in charge of the circus in this continuity. Funny how that works. Selena Kyle is an interesting villain here. Again, someone who was innocent at first, but then got screwed over by high society and got turned into a crazy cat. Hijinks to ensue. A lot of sexual ones, too, with that leather and that whip, too.
Remember, broadcast on Cartoon Network in America.
Yep, for kids around to see. Oh my god.
But no, it's the internet that's gonna scar your children. Not
Totally.
good old Cartoon Network.
Totally. Just totally. Anyway, I really enjoy the music here. It's definitely Danny Elfman in his prime for sure. The effects are very top notch as well. The story, well, like I said, the story overall isn't bad. It's just that it lacks focus. Now, don't get me wrong. I like that we're getting a good focus on certain villains here and there, Like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite takes on the Penguin. And the casting for this movie was phenomenal. Like, Danny DeVito is without a doubt one of the best picks for the Penguin you could go with. And he pulls off that role just perfectly. Michelle Pfeiffer manages to play the ever so mousy secretary who goes on to be a cat. Funny how that works. And she is pretty much a riot in that regard here and there. And yeah, what can I say about Shrek here? He's the odd man out here and there, but they picked just the right guy to play the odd man out. I mean, although it's a weird name though, Max Shrek. Also, am I the one who realizes the irony that Max Shrek's company logo is that of a cat? The very thing that will later bring on his own downfall. Funny how that works. But yeah, Christopher Walken is definitely pretty nice in this role. It's funny because he would later be in another movie involving cats where he teaches Lex Luthor a lesson with that. For those who don't know, I'm talking about 9 Lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like how insane this movie can get with stuff like the Penguin Army thing. That's the sort of stuff that I expect to see in a Batman mythos tale here and there. And this movie is definitely not afraid to be nice and wacky with Batman here. Again, I think my main issues are just the lack of focus here and there, and how this movie can get a little... Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. A little too dark, even for Batman standards. It's more like, well, okay, not so much it gets too dark, but it gets too dark without a sense of balance to it. And it really comes to a head in the end, where you kind of really feel like this downer moment until, the very end. Again, I don't know how to feel about the Penguin's death. Are we supposed to feel sorry for him? Because, well, then... Kind of awkward seeing as how he accepted the whole beast thing.
Again, if Penguin was the only villain in this movie, we could have found time to make that ending work better.
Just saying. How funny is it that another Batman movie would kind of repeat this issue of having a villain share the screen light with Catwoman? Dark Knight Rises. Is Catwoman just a cursed character?
I guess.
Every movie she's in, she ends up having to share the spotlight because, well, let's be honest, Catwoman's never going to be a real, true villain because she's the one who Batman loves.
Except we're not allowed to marry anyway. What does DC even want with Catwoman these days? I don't get it.
Don't know. I honestly don't know, Tio. But, yeah, so Batman Returns. Honestly, it's a movie that I still do love, and I would recommend seeing it here. Sure, some things may put you off a bit, but it is another step in Bruce Wayne's character development here. You notice here that he's actually coming to a lot more events here, rather than how he was kind of a shut-in in the first movie all through and through, and now even he realizes that his lifestyle... maybe may not have worked out well with Vicky, and it's nice to see him reflect on how revenge doesn't solve everything. But yeah, in the end of the day, it's still a movie that I love to watch, and one that I recommend for folk to see.
I'll be quick to conclude. Honestly, like I said, DC is...
Your favorite?
This particular... Sorry, yeah, my favorite of this particular era. Mind you, it doesn't tell, unfortunately, much because, as mentioned, this movie has some severe flaws here and there. The tone shift, the sexual innuendos, but mind you, in context, it makes sense, but it's the passage, from previous movie to this that feels more abrupt than it should be. That's the real kicker, also for the tone and all. It really does feel as if the movie would have been a bit different if WB had more control over it. And the bizarre focus on a bit too much on the villains and, not much about Bruce Wayne. Like I said, there are a couple of moments of this movie that could have been potentially cut or reworked, and instead be given more focus to Bruce Wayne, or to just develop one of the villains instead. I mean, mind you, the Catwoman story in itself, for how much bizarre it is for the character, it's serviceable for what it does, and Christopher Walken is a fun thing to watch for every scene that he's in. But when you get down to it, you could have potentially, as Venom mentioned, save those for another movie. Let's be general. Save those for another movie. Not necessarily just impede the two get them on the way, but focus still entirely just on the conflict of the Penguin. Mind you, because again, the Penguin has there is a good idea to make the Penguin a threat in this movie because, like I said, him and Batman do not trade punches that much, but when you get down to it, aside from a few gadgets, the Penguin in a physical fight is clearly not on the winning side. So it would have been a bit, one-sided.
Again, like I said, it probably sucks that the umbrella he actually fought Batman with was the sword umbrella, and not something like the gun umbrella or the flamethrower one.
Well, if I recall correctly, doesn't Batman in the first movie has a... Well, no, I think it's the next one that has an fireproof cape or something. But no, whatever. So the idea is not necessarily psychological, but in this case political, trying to discredit Batman. That is a good idea. It's just the whole bit where Batman is praying for murder, but goes absolutely nowhere. That, just wastes a bit of time of the movie when you get down to it. It could have been dedicated a bit better to other things. And again, I'm not the biggest fan of Catwoman's costume in this movie. I get what it represents. It's just that it connects to the entire idea of Selina Kyle being this more psychological villain with this mystical tone behind it, which again will lay the foundation for her own spin-off movie. But yeah, aside from that, in general, this movie to me is a blast to watch, mostly because of the themes that it treats and how it uses the conflict and the action scenes. Mind you, at the end of the day, of course, similar to the previous one, I still have my opinion similar to the previous one. As a Batman story, it's severely dated at best. It's not ideal for the standards of today in terms of what people think of Batman. It's a relic of its time. But just like the Adam West show, that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just, you have to understand the time period this was made on and what Batman meant in this time period, how it was represented now, which in itself is also twisted a bit because again this was pushing the way Batman was portrayed in this time anyway. But aside from that, I forgot the thing I mentioned. Considering again we're in Christmas period, the way this movie portrays Christmas is, as you can see, it's not really the focus. It's mostly a thing that you see in the background or a symbol of events, and it's used in an interesting way. It's not the whole Merry Christmas at the end is just for the time frame. There is no deeper meaning on say, the real gift that Batman gave to the city of Gotham or something like that. It was a cat. No, but no, it's just a time period where it happened. Arguably, you can say that this makes the movie setting not ideal. But it could have been done in any other time. The idea is to make it during snow time. It doesn't necessarily have to be around Christmas. You could have circumvented that. But no, it's again in general. It's not exactly your average Christmas movie, just like I guess Die Hard is. But for this era of Batman, for me, it's the guilty pleasure that I would love to see. But anyway, the good news, Dweebs, is that I managed to repair the snowmobile. However, there's the thing. You're in charge to take us to the next destination, but I can see here on the radar that it seems a couple of lines are converging to what it appears to be described as alternate realities.
Don't worry. Anyway, the most will cover on our slave journey to New York is some holes in the space-time continuum. It's nothing new.
What could possibly go wrong?
Speaking of converging timelines, I always wonder, how cool would it have been if we could have had a Batman movie where Jack Napier's Joker meets up with Danny DeVito's Penguin and they totally team up?
It wasn't supposed to be like that. It was not exactly like that, Jova, but the fifth movie was supposed to be a sort of reunion of every single cast member because Scarecrow was supposed to hallucinate hold on, Luis, give me a second. It was supposed to give hallucination to Batman, and he would have had hallucination of every single villain.
That would've
Anyway,
been
Dweebs,
awesome.
alright,
Jovid,
where are we
anyway,
going?
Jovid. Well, nowhere with you two if you get on the sleigh.
Right, yeah. What's this? The coordinates are
I
for...
just want to get rid of his
The
green
coordinates-
filter,
coord-
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Coordinate set for New York City. And we'll see you next time for my birthday pick, which is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Wait, birthday
Yeah.
pick?
Christmas. Well, my birthday and Christmas are pretty close together, Joe. Very easy mistake to make.
We already went with apes. I don't want to repeat that for the time being.
Don't worry. We're not on a planet of apes. We're on a planet of Spider-Man next time. So we'll see you for my next Christmas pick. Spider-Man Into the
Spiders.
Spider-Verse.
Would you say
Yeah.
an entire legion of spiders?
I wouldn't say a legion, but close enough. It's a tight knit group.
Got
So
it.
anyway, on to New York City, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.